Chapter 629. When Yu Yang went to see Yu Yu, he discovered that she was crying her heart out, sobbing in fourth mother's embrace. Lu Yi, Bao Er and the others were also there, crying silently. Even the most mischievous little girl, Yu Shuang, was obediently sitting in Yu Bing's embrace, not daring to make a sound. She looked around with her big eyes, unable to understand the meaning of death at all. Seeing everyone crying, she also cried. But when she was tired of crying, she still didn't know why everyone was crying. Yi Kong, Fatty Hai and the others sat on the ground, wanting to comfort her but not knowing what to say. They could only sit quietly, not making a sound. When Yu Yang saw them, he was slightly surprised, because he didn't expect them to all reach the innate realm in just a few days. Yi Kong, Fatty Hai and Prince of Tianluo were even close to innate level 2. Xue Tanlang was the fastest, he was already innate level 2. Without his guidance, they all comprehended the innate realm on their own. Yu Yang was very surprised. It seemed that aptitude and bloodline were only one part of the influence. The more important thing was experience and comprehension. No matter what, Yi Kong, Fatty Hai and the others had passed the most difficult stage, it would be easy for them to improve their cultivation in the future. Yu Yang had a feeling that the difficulty of reaching the innate realm was even higher than the difficulty of reaching heaven rank for the earth rank rankers. Reaching the innate realm was equivalent to entering the palace gates. If one couldn't cross this threshold, they would never understand the truth. Once they reached the innate realm, it would be easier in the future. If it wasn't for the fact that Yu Shan had just died in battle and he urgently needed to comfort Yu Yu, Yu Yang would have given Yi Kong, Fatty Hai and the others some pointers to help them improve further. Brother Xiao San. The little girl's eyes were sharp. She saw Yu Yang outside the door and jumped down from her sister's arms, running towards him. After jumping into Yu Yang's arms, her eyes were red and her mouth was pouting, she was about to cry. It wasn't easy for her to be an obedient child for the whole day. Everyone was crying, she was so scared that she didn't even dare to breathe, thinking that she did something wrong. Don't cry, Shuang Er is the most obedient. Yu Yang gently wiped away the tears on the little girl's face and kissed her eyelashes that were stained with tears. The little girl couldn't stand Yu Yang's praise. She would feel proud and would laugh when he praised her. Yu Yu raised her head and saw Yu Yang had returned. She struggled to stand up from fourth mother's embrace and threw herself into Yu Yang's embrace. She hugged her brother and cried loudly. Father was gone. The only one who could support her now was her brother. In fact, she was a girl who was easily contented. As long as her father turned back to the shore and lived a peaceful life, and as long as her brother was courageous and diligent, fearless of powerful enemies, then she had no more extravagant wishes. But fate was cruel. It turned out that his father, who had betrayed him, had died in battle with the Black Hell King before he was forgiven by his clansmen. Lu Yi wiped her tears and muttered. He told us stories in the morning and left in the afternoon. Lu Yi also wiped her tears and muttered to herself. He told us stories in the morning and left at noon. She couldn't comfort them with words, but she wanted to tell them that although she wasn't strong, her arms would always be the harbor for everyone's hearts. First uncle died in battle, third uncle died in battle, even her husband was killed by bad people, but she was still at home. She couldn't comfort them with words, but she wanted to tell the children that although she wasn't strong, her arms and embrace would always be the harbor for everyone's hearts. As long as she was there, there would be a home. Second sister, don't be sad. That was first uncle's choice. This battle will come. We don't have a choice. Regardless of whether we are brave or weak, the battle will come. What we need to do is to wipe away our tears, inherit our elders' will, and walk on our own path with our own strength. Yu Yang touched Yu Yu's tearful face. Looking at her tear-stained face, he felt pity for her. Fate wouldn't control her less just because she was kind. In fact, as long as one was in the Yu clan, as long as one was in the center of the whirlpool of battle, one would never be able to escape from that fate. In the beginning, Yu Yang also didn't understand why a mere Yu clan would have so many crafty plots and schemes, and so many battles. Actually, it wasn't because of him, the guy from another world. Earlier, 15 years ago, Yu Qiu died in battle. A few hundred years ago, ghost genius Yu Gong used puppet war dolls to revive the Yu clan. 1,000 years ago, the first clan master of the Yu clan founded the Yu clan. From then on, this fate was destined. The entire history of the Yu clan was the process of fighting against the enemy for generations. Everyone was inevitably involved in these battles, but everyone affected the process. It was only a matter of how much. If one wanted to trace it back even further, it would probably be the thorny flower fairy from 3,000 years ago, the prison emperor from 6,000 years ago, the Empress Fei Wenli from 10,000 years ago, and even further back, countless strong warriors in history had formed some kind of continuous, unpredictable, and inevitable destiny in the long river of life. No one could escape from this fate. Unless there was someone who could control the power of fate. Yu Yang closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He could feel Yu Yu's arms hugging him helplessly, he could feel Fourth Mother's firm support, he could feel everything. His mind was in turmoil. The scenes that happened after he transmigrated flashed in his mind, making him feel the 100 lives in his heart. Fate, his own fate, it seemed like it was never in his hands. However, it was very strange, as if it was waiting for him to control it. Maybe this was the reason why he transmigrated. Maybe this was the truth of fate. Maybe this was his true fate. Since no one could control fate, then let him do it. Thorny Flower Fairy, Prison Emperor and Queen Vivian Li couldn't do it, then he would do it. Maybe this was the true fate of a guy from another world like him. Yi Kong, Fatty Hai and the others were surprised to see that Yu Yang, who had his eyes closed and was deep in thought, had a rainbow-like light coming out from his body. It became bigger and bigger. An invisible force seemed to have enveloped the entire space. In their eyes, it was as if Yu Yang had turned into a giant. With a casual raise of his hand or leg, he could shake the heavens and earth. Of course, there were no changes to Yu Yang's body. It was a very strange feeling. It was similar to the power of the ancient code, but it wasn't. It was an energy that belonged to Yu Yang's mind. It was very similar to the spiritual energy that Anan used when she was fighting in the heaven realm. However, it was even more mysterious and inconceivable. Everyone was unable to move, as if they had fallen into a soft bubble. Everyone felt extremely happy and didn't want to move at all. They didn't even have the thought of moving. Even Yu Yu, who was crying sadly, stopped sobbing and quietly stayed in this rainbow-like spiritual energy field. Only Fourth Mother was caressing Yu Yang's head. She seemed to understand what kind of state Yu Yang was in. She caressed his head tenderly. Her gaze was filled with love. That was the most gentle and warm care in the world. This was the only thing she could give him. Towards this child, she couldn't help him more. She had the heart but was powerless. But she understood his pain and understood his difficulties. Yu Yu could cry. She could also vent the sadness in her heart to him because he was her brother. Yu Bing and the little girl could laugh. They could tell him the happiness in their hearts because he was their brother. Yi Kong, Hai Defu, Xue Tan Lang and the others could work hard and set him as their goal because he was everyone's team leader. The elders could relax and watch him fight because he was everyone's hope. Only him, only him. There was no one else who could share his fate. It was as if the heavens had arranged it. That kind of predetermined fate had descended on his head, whether he was willing or not, whether he could bear it. It's been hard on you. Fourth Mother gently caressed Yu Yang's face. This face that was full of vitality, and vitality was the biggest pride in her life. It was also the most painful image in her heart. Seeing a child struggling against his fate was not something she was willing to see, but she had no other choice. Other than supporting him and comforting embrace, there was nothing else she could do. Fourth Mother, I'm leaving. Yu Yang opened his eyes. The rainbow-like energy field was instantly withdrawn. Everyone was jolted awake in that moment, recovering from that wonderful state. Yu Yang nodded towards Fourth Mother and gently let go of Yu Yu. He turned around and shouted towards Yi Kong and Fatty Hai, who were outside the door, "Let's go. A new battle is waiting for us. We don't have time to cry. We are men. We shed blood but not tears. Let us fight to our heart's content. No matter if this is fate or an accident, we can't resist the arrival of battle. Since it's like this, let us fight to our heart's content. Let's go. One day we will control our own fate." Hui Tailang was the first to respond. It flew in front of Yu Yang. It would always be the most loyal existence. Immediately after, Fatty Hai and Yi Kong became spirited. Although they did not know what kind of battle Yu Yang was talking about, they were fearless. They were determined to fight with him to the ends of the earth. Even if they had to fight all over Tong Tian Tower or Heaven Realm, they would never stop fighting. They did not know what their fate was, but they knew one thing. Following behind him was the best path in their lives. Yu Bing bowed to her mother to bid farewell. She was also a warrior, not just her brother's sister. Lu Yi, Bao Er and the others had a determined look on their faces as they decided to leave with him, Xiao San. Yu Yu wiped away the tears on her face and ran out of the house. She shouted to Yu Yang with a sobbing tone, "Bring second sister along. I will definitely not be a burden to you." Yu Yang looked at Yu Yu. Just when Yu Yu was worried that Yu Yang would reject her, she suddenly saw Yu Yang stretch out his hand. Immediately, tears gushed out like a spring. These were not the kind of sad tears just now, but a kind of affirmation and gratitude. Holding her brother's hand, Yu Yu used all her strength to chase after his footsteps. They passed through the teleportation gate, passed through the intersection of light and darkness, passed through the barrier of different spaces, and ran forward. On a hill not far from them, Princess Sisai, who was carrying the Prison Emperor Divine Sword, Xue Wuxia, who was holding an ancient book, City Mistress Fallen Flowers, who was carrying the Nine-Tailed Fox Spirit, Ocean Empress Aquamarine, who was wearing the Ocean Empress Divine Armor and holding the Ocean Empress Halberd, and Sky Law, who was floating in the air like a sleeping beauty. They had been waiting in front for a long time. Chapter 630. After passing through the teleportation gate, what appeared in front of everyone was a barren world. Other than an endless stretch of ruins, there was nothing else. There wasn't even any life in this place. It was a completely lifeless and lifeless world. It could be seen that this world once had an extremely glorious civilization. Some clues could be found from the buildings that remained after the collapse. But the strange thing was that this world was completely devoid of life. Not to mention humans or large animals, there were not even insects or weed. It was a completely silent space. The ground was dark and the sky was gray. There was no wind. There was nothing moving. When Yi Kong, Fatty Hai and the others came out of the teleportation gate and stepped into this place, their first reaction was an instinctive fear. What is this place? Could it be that this is God's ruins? Even Xue Tanlang, who had a strong will, did not dare to speak loudly. He was deeply afraid that if he spoke loudly, he would break the silence of this space. It would awaken the demon that was sleeping underground. Fatty Hai and Yi Kong had also changed from their usual joking and playful manner to nervously look at their surroundings. Prince of Tian Luo, Li brothers and the others immediately scattered around, forming a semicircle formation to be on guard. Each of their footsteps were especially cautious, as if a slight step on the ground would cause a disaster. Other than impatience, the only person who could calmly step into this place was Hai Yingwu. Impatience was an innate elder. She was skilled and bold. Moreover, she had stepped here before, so she was not shocked. Hai Yingwu had also been to a similar sea area before. At the same time, she helped Yu Yang to monitor the 1,000 Goblin King's clone, so she had already understood the information here. Although she was secretly shocked, she could still maintain her calm on the surface. God's ruins? If God's ruins was so simple, why would the innate rankers of Tong Tian Tower be so worried? Princess Sisai shook her head and said an unexpected answer. Actually, this is the first level of heaven's stairway. What? Yi Kong and Fatty Hai were dumbfounded. This was heaven's stairway? Is this really the stairway to heaven? Yu Bing and Yu couldn't believe it either. In their minds, the stairway to heaven should be like a beautiful little garden. They didn't expect the real stairway to heaven to be in such a wasteland. There wasn't even any sign of life. It was a land of death. What kind of disaster could cause the stairway to heaven to end up like this? Back then, what kind of war had broken out? They really could not imagine it. They only knew that the historical civilization here was definitely not inferior to that of the soaring dragon continent. The entire first level of the heaven stairway was in a state of destruction. Who did this? What was the reason for the historical civilization of the stairway to heaven to suddenly become such a terrifying, extinct world? Princess Sisai solemnly nodded towards Yu and Yu Bing. Because of the protection of God's ruins, almost all the lives in the heaven stairway were exterminated. Only a very small part of them escaped to the soaring dragon continent and continued to live on. That was the extinct Ming Kingdom and the Valley of Butterflies and 100 Flowers, one of our ancestors. Although the heaven stairway had become an extinct world, the ancient seniors sealed many rankers who coveted the gods' ruins, such as the 1,000 Goblin King. Night Empress had mentioned some to us before, but there were more secrets that even she might not be able to grasp. We came here because Aquamarine discovered that the 1,000 Goblin King's clone was preparing to come to the heaven stairway to retrieve the demon heart and fuse with it to become the new 1,000 Goblin King. Fatty Hai and the others were excited when they heard this. Damn it, the 1,000 Goblin King was awesome, but it was said that the 1,000 Goblin King's clone was only an innate. If the clone really dared to come and steal the demon heart, then he would not be able to return. Of course, they were right to think this way, but the more attentive Prince of Tianluo knew that it was not that simple. If it was only the last clone of the 1,000 Goblin King who came to steal the demon heart, why would he need to muster so many people? Just Yu Yang alone could easily kill the 1,000 Goblin King's clone. There was no need to bring everyone. Moreover, even Skylaw was here. From this, it could be seen that the enemy was definitely not simple. There are many ancient seals in the heaven stairway. They were originally related to the seals of the 12 zodiac temples. When the 12 zodiac temples were cleared by Yu Yang, that kind of seal was undone. This is because this is a problem of the inheritance of the old and new generation of rankers. When a new generation of rankers is born in Tong Tian Tower, then the will of the old generation of rankers will slowly disappear. In other words, from the day Yu Yang cleared the 12 zodiac temples, the ancient seal started to be unsealed. It must be resealed. Otherwise, the old monsters of the ancient seal will come out from the ground. When Shui Wuxia said this, everyone understood why they came to the heaven stairway. Oh my God, will there be more fellows like the Scarlet Emperor coming out from the ground? Fatty Hai blurted out. He regretted after saying it, because this kind of guess was too scary. There might be stronger ones than the Scarlet Emperor. Yu Yang nodded. Yi Kong and Fatty Hai were so scared that they almost fainted. It's not possible, it's definitely possible. Shui Wuxia closed the ancient book in her hands and used a very calm tone to explain to everyone. Night Empress said that the stronger the enemy, the stronger the seal, and the longer the time to unseal it. According to the time taken for 1,000 Goblin King and the Scarlet Emperor to unseal it, compared to the rankers 10,000 years ago, I'm afraid it's really nothing. Night Empress and Ji Zun sent us to the first floor of the heaven stairway purely for us to practice. The real scary ones are even higher. Then what are we waiting for? Hurry up and seal it. Even the calmest Shui Tan Lang was anxious. Ask him. City Mistress Fallen Flowers pointed at Yu Yang. I'm sorry, I still don't know how to seal it. Yu Yang spread his hands, expressing his helplessness. What? Prince of Tianluo felt a headache. He asked with his forehead full of sweat. You still haven't learned how to seal it? Didn't you obtain the prison emperor's inheritance? Let's not talk about the fact that I haven't truly obtained the inheritance. Even if I did, it might not be useful. At his peak, the prison emperor could only seal the Scarlet Emperor, the ancient demon king, and the three great leaders. According to the theory that the weaker the seal, the faster one can escape. These guys are actually the weakest ones, the stronger ones are still coming. What else can I do now? I haven't learned how to seal it, my strength has not reached that level yet. Yu Yang answered honestly. Then what can we do now? Yi Kong asked weakly. Wait for them to wake up. Sky Law giggled. Pooh! Yi Kong and Fatty Hai vomited blood together and fainted. Although it was cruel, this was the truth. It was placed in front of them, and they had no choice but to accept it. They knew that the enemy was in the seal, but before the enemy escaped, no one knew how to seal it. They couldn't do anything to the enemy. If they messed with the seal, it would only speed up the awakening. Yu Yang's speed of improvement was already abnormal enough. Yi Kong and Fatty Hai were usually very jealous of him. Now they were not jealous anymore. They hoped that Yu Yang's speed of improvement would be even more abnormal, 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times faster. If he didn't understand the seal and let those old monsters break free one by one, the consequences would be unimaginable. Just the Black Hell King alone caused a bloody storm in the soaring dragon continent. It was not easy to get rid of him. Thousand Goblin King was obviously killed. His soul crystal was fused into the Tao Tai blade, but he still left a clone to continue causing trouble. As for the Scarlet Emperor who started a war with the Prison Emperor, and the Ancient Demon King who could indirectly kill the Black Hell King and Thousand Goblin King, there was no need to talk about them. They were completely at large and there was no way to deal with them. If these people were the weakest, there would be even stronger old monsters awakening in the future. How could they let them live? Can we fight? Fatty Hai's legs trembled. Whenever he thought that the Black Hell King was the weakest among the enemies, he couldn't help but feel weak in the knees. If the sealed enemies come out of the ground, we definitely won't be able to fight. One slap and all of you will be annihilated. Impatience giggled. Your opponents are not the sealed old monsters, they can't escape immediately. The people you need to deal with are those who want to release the old monsters in advance. For example, the Thousand Goblin King's clone and the loyal subordinates of the Black Hell King. Where are they? Yi Kong jumped up. He couldn't imagine what would happen if these guys used a sacrifice or some secret technique to release the Scarlet Emperor or the Ancient Demon King. There is a sealed area 50 kilometers ahead, there is another one 100 kilometers to the left, and another 200 kilometers to the right. Hai Yingwu said that she didn't have much information. She only knew 3 at the moment, maybe the enemies would release more. Because of the death of the Black Hell King, the loyal members of the Black Hell Army went completely crazy. Especially under the urging of the Thousand Goblin King's clone, they decided to speed up the release of the ancient seals and release all the demons to perish together with the warriors of the soaring dragon continent. Damn it! Fatty Hai, Yi Kong, Shui Tan Lang and the others ran forward frantically. They were so anxious that they didn't even have time to summon their beast. They knew that they could only fight the enemies that were closest to the seal. Otherwise, Yu Yang wouldn't have set up the teleportation gate here. But with their strength, could they really stop the loyal members of the Black Hell Army? Not to mention their lack of confidence, even Yu Yang felt that it would be difficult. Hai Yingwu summoned Elder Xing Pan, and let the old octopus bring 2 heaven-ranked level 2 abyss manatees to support them. Yu Yang was still worried and sent Hui Tailang. The seal on the left was led by Sky Law. Hai Yingwu, Yu Bing, Drunken Cat and the others rushed to intercept them. Of course, Yu Yang was worried about the few of them, but the loyal members of the Black Hell Army had angered the demonic palace. Sky Execution had not recovered from the battle with the Black Hell King, so he might not appear. But Sky Wrath, Sky Disaster, Sky Fury and the other sky demons would definitely not sit idly by. Yu Yang decided to stop the seal on the right personally. Originally, he wanted to go alone, but Princess Sisai and Shui Wuxiao were worried. They insisted on following him. Even City Mistress Fallen Flowers stayed behind. My intuition tells me that the enemy's main force is on the right. It's hard to say if the Scarlet Emperor will appear, but it's highly possible that the ancient Demon King will appear. Even if he hasn't recovered to his peak, it's hard to defend against him if he secretly attacks you. Shui Wuxia convinced Yu Yang. A girl's sixth sense was very accurate, especially Princess Sisai, who had the 6 records, inherent skill, and Shui Wuxia, who had an extremely sensitive nature. Yu Yang could not trust his sixth sense, but he would not doubt them. At this moment, on the 3rd level of the heaven stairway, the originally gray sky shone with a light that was thousands of times brighter than the sun. An 80-meter-tall ancient demon had just drilled out of the ground. He wailed miserably as his body melted bit by bit in the destructive light. Chapter 631. Yikong, Fatty Hai, Shui Tan Lang and the rest could see the flames from the ruins that were more than 10 kilometers away from their target. There must be a large number of troops sacrificing their lives there. Speed up the unsealing of the ancient demon. They wanted to rush there as fast as they could, but when a figure appeared in front of them, they stopped at the same time. Yikong looked at Elder Xingpan and nodded his head. You guys go first, we will rush there as fast as we can. Understood. Elder Xingpan led the 2 abyss manatees and bypassed the black figure in front of them, rushing towards the flames that were more than 10 kilometers away. The shadows looked on quietly, with no intention of stopping them. Both sides did not speak much. They all summoned their beasts, preparing for a fight to the death. Yikong summoned the King Kong demon ape, Herculean rhinoceros beetle. Fatty Hai summoned the King Kong steel rhinoceros, hippopotamus and wind breath seabird. On the other side, the leader of the shadows summoned a gold dragon king beast, then a demon dragon that was of a higher level than the gold dragon king beast. His body gradually turned into a demon, with curved horns on top of his head, claws extended, snake tail swung, bat wings extended, and blood-red scales appeared on his skin that was burning with demon flames. Behind this man, a few rankers raised their battle power. The 2 strongest had already reached innate level 8. If it were Yikong and Fatty Hai, they would not be able to fight against them. These 2 innate level 8 rankers. Their goal was to kill Hui Tai Lang. They were 2 of the 5 great marshals of the Black Hell King. War Tiger of the East and Fierce Tooth of the North had died in the death arena, leaving only Blood Hoof of the South and Gale of the West. These 2 loyal marshals were prepared to die for the Black Hell King and follow him to hell. They knew that Yu Yang was their number 1 enemy. They knew that it was impossible for them to go against Yu Yang. Their only wish was to kill Hui Tai Lang and get rid of Yu Yang's powerful beast. It could also be considered as revenge for the Black Hell King. Of these 2 stubborn innate experts, one was an old bull, and the other was a condor. Although he was slightly weaker than War Tiger of the East and Fierce Tooth of the North, he was still a level 8 innate and could not be underestimated. Other than Blood Hoof of the South and Gale of the West, there were also a few innate level Demon Lord. They were all the leaders of the Black Hell King's most loyal Black Hell Guards. Each of them had a murderous look on their faces and were prepared to die together with Yikong, Fatty Hai and the Li brothers. There was no right or wrong, the Black Hell King was dead. The only reason why they didn't commit suicide was because they wanted to eliminate everyone around Yu Yang to avenge their master. It's you? Shui Tan Lang used his full strength and was the first to step forward. He sneered at the demonized shadow. By Yunfei, I didn't think it would be you. Look at how you've turned yourself into something that's neither a human nor a ghost. You want to exchange your potential for power? Using a secret technique like life ignition in exchange for a moment of glory? I really don't know what to say to you. Originally, I thought that you were someone, but I didn't expect that you weren't even worth laughing at. And you, Xue Qianren, you're also a retard. Prince Tianluo had a good temper and was rarely angry, but today was an exception. When he saw the few shadows in front of him, he flew into a rage. He could not restrain his anger and scolded the other party. The demonized shadow standing in front of him was the Floating Mist Sect's junior sect leader, Bai Yunfei. And standing beside Bai Yunfei was the pitiful guy's love rival, Xue Qianren. There was also a person that Yi Kong couldn't recognize, but only remembered after Xue Qianren's identity, Xue Qianqiu. Originally, Xue Qianqiu was already crippled, but now he was very proud, because he didn't know who used a secret technique to let him reach the innate realm. Or in other words, Earth rank level 2. He became an innate without a grimoire, an innate that didn't train or comprehend himself. He was similar to the heaven realm creatures that were Earth rank, strong but with a low realm. Xue Qianqiu became an Earth rank level 2 ranker. Xue Qianren was also at the peak of Earth rank level 2, and Bai Yunfei was at the peak of Earth rank level 3. They all controlled a huge amount of power, but the problem was that their grimoires had become decorations. This kind of power that was achieved through a secret technique could not be recognized by the grimoires. Furthermore, it was obtained through the exchange of potential and life. It was only a moment of glory, not eternal. Feng Qisha, Yan Pejun, Xue Tan Lang and Prince of Tianluo, none of you have the right to laugh at us. Did you really comprehend the innate realm with your own power? No, it's because of that damned Yu clan's third young master. Without him, can you become an innate? Bai Yunfei didn't speak, but Xue Qianren, who was carrying a lion's tail and wings on his back, shouted resentfully, "You are lucky to have Yu clan's third young master's help. What do we have? You guys are unfair. Do you expect us to silently endure the life of a weakling? No, we are not any worse than you guys. The only thing we lack is a little bit of luck. In fact, if we have the chance, we will definitely become an innate." This kind of innate? Xue Tan Lang said disdainfully. Xue Tan Lang, no matter how much you look down on me, I am now the same level as you, or even stronger than you. That's right, you can pretend to be kind and say that you comprehended the innate realm on your own, while we used demon blood to infuse it into us. So what? This world only believes in power. As long as you have power, you are strong. Xue Qianren couldn't stand Xue Tan Lang's disdain and roared furiously. Do you guys think that this kind of power is everything? Feng Qisha sighed softly. Bai Yunfei Qianren turned back. Yan Pejun stepped forward and stretched out his hand emotionally. I used to be the same as you guys, walking the wrong path. But after I corrected myself, I still break out in cold sweat when I think about it. Turn back, this power is just an illusion, it's not real. Hypocritical, hypocritical, hypocritical. Yan Pejun, I have already seen through you. Who do you think you are? You relied on your clan, sucked up to Yu clan's third young master to get where you are today. What abilities do you have? Aren't you ashamed to lecture us here? Look at your power level. You have just stepped into innate level 1 and are still the weakest beginner level 1. As for me, a trash that you looked down on before, I am now an innate level 2. What is an illusion? I, Xue Qianqiu, will kill you and bury you in this heaven stairway forever. I will make the whole Yin clan despair. This is an illusion. His Majesty the Demon King can grant us eternal life. As long as we make contributions, we will obtain even stronger power. We don't need to train at all. In the future, let alone innate level 2, I can even reach innate elder level 2. As for you guys, you will be buried in this ruin forever, becoming the laughing stock of the future generations. Countless disgusting tentacles and compound eyes appeared on Xue Qianqiu's body. It was really disgusting. Yan Pejun shook his head sadly and took a step back. Clap, 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 clap. Yi Kong clapped his hands to show that he agreed with Xue Qianqiu's words. I finally understand why they say that there is no cure for brain-dead people. So it's really like this? Fatty High nodded seriously. Since we are enemies, there is nothing to say. Let's fight. Today, it is not a civil war in the soaring dragon continent, it is a battle between normal people and brain-dead people. The minds of the Li brothers were one. They were the first to rush out and attack Xue Qianqiu, who was laughing shamelessly. Bai Yunfei's hands shook outwards and a strong shockwave directly sent the Li brothers flying backwards. He pointed his finger at Xue Tanlang. In the soaring dragon continent, other than the Yu clan's third young master, you are the most talented. That day during the 100-school elite competition, I wanted to fight with you, but I missed the chance. Today, if it is not you, Xue Tanlang, who falls on the first floor of the heaven stairway, then I, Bai Yunfei, will be buried in the ruins. In this world, the winner is the king and the loser is the thief. Let's not talk about unnecessary things. Who is the winner today? Who is the winner in life? Who is the peerless genius of the soaring dragon continent? Xue Tanlang proudly stepped out and laughed coldly. Peerless genius? Winner in life? That person might not be me, but it definitely won't be you. Both sides were filled with hatred and anger. An earth-shattering battle cry burst out as they rushed towards their opponents. A bloody battle, no rest until one side is dead. On the other side, Yu Yang, Princess Sisai and Xue Wuxia, who were rushing towards the seal on the right, also stopped at this moment. Standing in front of them was a shadow wearing a cloak. This shadow stood there alone, like a wandering ghost. He seemed to have predicted that Yu Yang would set off towards this direction. He stood there quietly and waited. He was even more patient and calm than he was when he waited for the Black Hell King yesterday. Out of habit, he turned his back to Yu Yang, as if he believed that Yu Yang was a gentleman and would definitely not launch a sneak attack on him. He leisurely clasped his hands behind his back as he stood on a broken pillar in the ruins. Yu Yang, Princess Sisai, Xue Wuxia and City Mistress Fallen Flowers had never seen this shadow before. But just by looking at it, they knew who this shadow was. The ancient demon king's soul carrier today, Yu clan's third young master. Do you know who I am? The shadow asked with a smile. Are you surprised? Actually, I didn't want to find you so soon. You are a very fun toy. With you around, my life will be much more interesting. Just like the prison emperor back then, with him around, my life will also have a glorious history. You can't compare to him for now. Prison Emperor TSK, what a gorgeous toy. I admire him very much. Of course, I also admire you very much. Yu clan's third young master, you are the first toy that I can't see through in tens of thousands of years. Because of this, I decided to come out and greet you, so that you have a goal to work towards. You know, if you don't work hard enough, you will die a very tragic death. Are you muddle-headed? Yu Yang looked as if he was looking at a mental patient. No, I promise I have no mental problems. You are saying this because you are afraid of me. The shadow wearing the cloak laughed out loud. Isn't it just the soul of the ancient demon king? What is there to be afraid of? If you want to scare little kids, you might be able to, but if you want to scare us, you are still lacking. Princess Sisai held the Prison Emperor Divine Sword in her hands and continuously increased her strength, activating the Prison Emperor Divine Sword's divine equipment energy and Prison Emperor's will. For a moment, the entire sky seemed to be hung with a divine sword that could cut the heaven and earth in half at any time. The pressure of the divine equipment suppressed everyone. You want to kill me? It's still too early. Under the pressure of the divine sword, the shadow was still able to speak calmly. I am not an idiot like the Black Hell King. If there is danger, I will definitely not come out to meet you. What are you trying to say? City Mistress Fallen Flowers stepped forward and held Yu Yang's left hand to support him, preventing him from losing his mind and going berserk. I just came to greet you. The shadow sighed slightly. Actually, I really want to kill you, but it's a pity I can't. Scram. Yu Yang really wanted to use the power of the ancient code to kill this guy, but he reckoned that killing the shadow would only destroy one of the ancient demon king's soul carriers. It would not harm the original soul at all. As long as the ancient demon king found another one, he could come and find trouble with him again. There was no way to kill all of them, unless he could find the weakness of this ancient demon king. The most likely possibility was that this ancient demon king was here to die. He wanted to test Yu Yang's true strength, using a soul carrier in exchange for Yu Yang's secret. This plan was the ancient demon king's real goal. Of course, Yu Yang would not fall for it. He raised his right hand and took out the Tao Tai blade, preparing to fight. Princess Sisai, Shui Wuxia, who had been observing silently, and City Mistress Fallen Flowers, who had been encouraging Yu Yang, all cooperated tacitly. As expected, when the shadow saw that Yu Yang did not fall for it, he immediately waved his hand and drew out a silver light, tearing the space apart. He disappeared without a trace. He was not willing to fight with Yu Yang at all, because he was afraid that his secret would be seen through by Yu Yang. Chapter 632. In the ruins, the battle raged on. The gold dragon king beast dove down continuously, spitting out dragon flames that could even burn the ground. It forced Prince Tian Luo to retreat. The other demon dragon attacked the gold dragon king beast. From its mouth, not only did it spit out demon flames, it also had a corrosive poison. This was an extremely high-temperature poison with a strong corrosive power. The flying axe that Fan Luantai threw at the demon dragon actually caused the demon dragon to spit out a mouthful of poison. The flying axe was destroyed in midair, leaving only a bit of acid that splashed onto the ground. Oxhead Li Ao and Fan Luantai could not help Prince Tian Luo, who was being suppressed by the two dragons because there were 5 earth demon bears and 2 demon abyss lords attacking them. If not for Golden Elf Linen, Anna and Bao Er's timely rescue, the two of them would have fallen into a dangerous situation. Purify. Lu Ye's Purify inherent skill was useless against normal people, but against demon abyss warriors, even innate level lords, it was very powerful. Damned human, damned inherent skill. The demon abyss lord, who was far more powerful than her, dodged in fear under the gentle white light released by the willow leaf. It cursed in pain, gritting its teeth in hatred. It really wanted to kill Lu Yi with its blood axe, but it quickly realized that even if it was 3 times stronger, it would not be able to do it. This was because this seemingly harmless human girl had a guardian beast, the perforate deer. This deer had no attack power, but it could teleport and pass through all obstacles. Combined with its master's teleportation, it could achieve a super abnormal dodging ability. No attack could hit her. What was worse was that there was no movement skill that could escape from her pursuit. The perforate deer caught up in an instant, and the girl teleported at the same time. No matter what, they would always be in sync. Their speed was so fast that it made people feel hopeless. Moreover, this human girl who could ignore attack power could use a kind of soft light to directly injure the demon Abyss Lord Beast. Even an innate level Lord Beast's body could be easily melted. The demon Abyss Lord was sure that if this girl fought with a human warrior, she would not be able to defeat a level 6 Ui Elder. But when she fought with him, she was able to injure him, who was an innate level 1 demon Abyss Lord Beast. Stop, Purify. Lu Yi had never fought such a strong enemy alone. This was different from her usual training. She was facing an enemy that she could fight to the death with. Because of the lack of real life and death experience, Lu Yi was still a little nervous. However, she was a good disciple and would always remember Yu Yang's guidance in her heart. The tactics that Yu Yang arranged for her would be executed meticulously. In terms of battle experience, she was definitely an ignorant noob, but in terms of tactics, she could reach the level of a master. Because Yu Yang's strategy was so thorough that it made people despair. Lu Yi first chose an enemy with the densest demon chi, because Yu Yang told her that this kind of enemy was the easiest to kill. Unless the enemy was above innate level 6, otherwise, with her cleansing, inherent skill, she would not need to fear any enemy with dense demon qi. The cleansing talent was the natural nemesis of all negative effects such as devil qi, venom, and ghost. The perforate deer and the teleportation were synchronized. After hitting the enemy's body with the pure energy, he instantly left. There was no need to look for any flaws, just continuous attacks. If the enemy's whole body was bursting with energy, the perforate deer would instantly pass through. As long as he was synchronized with the perforate deer, he would never be injured. If Lu Yi concentrated, she would at least be able to hold on for half an hour unscathed under the joint attack of Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, Li Brothers and the others without being defeated. She still could not use the teleportation device to bring her companions. If Lu Yi brought her companions to attack together, with her in the battle, the enemies would probably cry in pain. "Scram, I don't want to fight with you." The Demon Abyss Lord was so depressed that it wanted to commit suicide. It had been attacked no less than 20 times, but it did not even touch the enemy's clothes. "Clear my mind, I have no distracting thoughts, I can't hear anything, I need to concentrate," Lu Yi nervously muttered to herself. Yu Yang had told her before that no matter what the enemy said, she must not have any distracting thoughts. Before killing the enemy, she must not be distracted. This was her first time fighting alone. She was afraid that she would be affected by the enemy's words, so she reminded herself again and again. The Demon Abyss Lord was hurt and angry at the same time. It vomited blood. Scram, ants die. On the other side of the battle, it was Xue Qianqiu who was very pleased with himself. He who had transformed into an insect was not afraid of any attack. Every time the Li brothers pierced a bloody hole on his body, Xue Qianqiu could grow more tentacles from the bloody hole. On the contrary, the power of the tentacles on his body could hit the Li brothers and send them flying. If not for the defense of the golden ant soldiers, the two's bones would have been crushed. Xue Qianqiu was like an inexhaustible and greedy tentacle worm. As he chased after the Li brothers, he laughed arrogantly. "Idiot, I am invincible. You little rascals will never know how powerful I am. I have an immortal body. Come and kill me. Use your weapons and stab my body. Do you want me to take a pose and let you kill me? Look at your useless looks, it's simply the world's tragedy. Ha ha, this is too funny." Boom! A ball of flames came down from the sky. Xue Qianqiu was burnt to ashes and his tentacles withered. Yan Pejun flew over and shouted at the Li brothers, "Change opponents, leave this Xue Qianqiu to me." Xue Qianqiu shouted angrily, "It's you, Yan Pejun. You arrogant idiot. Do you think that a little flame can kill me who has an immortal body? His Majesty the Demon King gave me an immortal body. Do you think that you can kill me with just a little flame from your flaming lion? Actually, you have already died a long time ago. The you now is just a piece of meat." Yan Pejun sneered with disdain. That time, the Yu clan's third young master had already killed you. Xue Qianqiu no longer exists. You are just a maggot born from rotten meat. The ancient Demon King told you an identity, but you are really naive. You really think that you are Xue Qianqiu. If you are Xue Qianqiu, do you still remember who your fiancée is? I have a fiancée? Yes, it's her. I am sure that it's her. Xue Qianqiu saw the flickering willow leaf in the sky and immediately reacted. He pointed at the willow leaf and replied Yan Pejun proudly. "Yan Pejun, do you think that you can defeat me with just a few words? I don't deny that I lost some of my memories when I was reborn. But I am Xue Qianqiu. Do you think that you can sow discord between me and His Majesty the Demon King? Let me tell you, I swear my eternal loyalty to His Majesty. No matter what you say, it is useless." What an idiot. I am not talking to you at all. Xue Qianren, do you still not understand? You, Shui Qianqiu, and even Bai Yunfei are just fucking parasite. You are all dead long ago. You are just toys for the ancient demon king to play with. Yan Pejun ignored Shui Qianqiu and looked back at Shui Qianren, who was fighting with Yi Kong and Fatty Hai. Don't say any more. I will not believe you. Yan Pejun, put away your tricks. Shui Qianren's expression instantly changed, becoming extremely ugly. So you are just a pitiful parasite. Yi Kong waved his hand at Fatty Hai. I can do it alone. Monkey, don't be so stubborn. Fatty Hai really left. He brought along the wind-breath seabird and rushed towards the most critical part of the battlefield. That was the battle between the Oxheadly Ao and Fan Luan Tai. Shui Qianren was so angry that his whole body was trembling. He shouted at Shui Qianqiu. Attack! Use your insect sea battle tactic. Don't let Yan Pejun talk nonsense anymore. Kill him immediately. Before he could finish his sentence, a loud rumbling sound came from the sky. Feng Qi Sha had temporarily defeated his opponent and landed beside Yan Pejun. He shouted at Yi Kong. Let's use the great totem battle tactic. The Li brothers who were in the sky fell to the ground. A few huge meteorite iron pillars were inserted into the ruins. A domain-like energy field rose up and enveloped the whole battlefield. Other than Bai Yunfei and Shui Tanlang, who were fighting in the sky, everyone else was affected by the energy of the great totem battle tactic. The demonized Bai Yunfei circled around Shui Tanlang as fast as lightning. In order to pursue speed, he did not even dare to ride on the gold dragon king beast. An opponent like Shui Tanlang was not an ordinary person. His speed was extremely fast, and he was also an expert in freezing his enemies and slowing their movement. Shui Tanlang, who had fused with the storm giant, controlled the airflow in the sky. Snowflakes danced in the sky and the airflow formed a huge tornado. Although he could not control lightning, he could use the tornado to create lightning and increase the power of the tornado. Once he hit a huge target like the gold dragon king beast, it would immediately turn into a block of ice. Bai Yunfei had just been hit by a frost fist and half of his body was immediately frozen. If not for his demon flame, he would probably be at a disadvantage. Bai Yunfei only understood now that this Shui Tanlang was really abnormal. An abnormal genius. Although he was not as terrifying as the Yu clan's third young master, this Shui Tanlang was not an ordinary person. Luckily, his speed was faster. Speed was the key to victory. Go and die. Bai Yunfei flashed past Shui Tanlang like lightning. As he dodged the frost fist, he pressed a flame claw on Shui Tanlang's chest and the demon flame exploded. This is the power of a peak innate level 3? Shui Tanlang's mouth was bleeding. He coolly wiped it away and looked at the demon flame claw that was still burning on his chest. He casually blew on it and the raging demon flame immediately turned into a block of ice. Bai Yunfei, who thought that his sneak attack had succeeded, saw this, and the complacency in his eyes immediately disappeared. He felt a stinging pain in his palm. A layer of frost had unknowingly formed on his palm that was burning with demon flame. After a long time, it slowly disappeared. Bai Yunfei took a deep breath, as expected of Shui Tanlang. Not bad, you are worthy of my full strength. Shui Tanlang disappeared, and when he reappeared, he was already on top of the gold dragon king beast's head. He pressed his hand on the gold dragon king beast's head and pressed the huge dragon to the ground. Bai Yunfei tried to save him. Prince Tianluo, who had conjured a flame divine shield, stood in front of him and blocked Bai Yunfei's attack. It's not that I can't beat your dragon, it's just that I swore that I would retreat at least 3 times and 3 times not to attack the misty golden dragon clan that my ancestors were indebted to. Now I am returning everything to you. Prince Tianluo's strength was slightly weaker than Bai Yunfei's. Boom. He fell to the ground. Just as Bai Yunfei was about to chase after him, he flew up like a meteor and shot towards another demon dragon that was of a higher rank. Just as the demon dragon opened its mouth, and was about to swallow the prince of Tian Luo whole, King of Tian Luo summoned his heavenly fire meteor. The meteor fell from the sky at an extremely high speed and instantly landed on the demon dragon's back, causing it to howl in pain and fall to the ground. Use the treasure. Bai Yunfei's face darkened. Raising his hands, he took out a saint-tier black magic box. Xie Qian Ren's demonic flame claws were at the gold ring. As for Xue Qianqiu, he directly swallowed a green demonic bead. Af! Xue Qianqiu smiled sinisterly. The countless compound eyes on his body shone with a cruel light at the same time. Suddenly, countless tentacles pierced into the body of the Devil Abyss Warrior, absorbing all the flesh and blood of the Devil Abyss Warrior into his body, becoming a part of him. The process of extracting blood and flesh was extremely disgusting. Lu Yi almost vomited. She tried her best to hold it in. Just as she was about to step forward to fight, Yi Kong waved his hand. "Let me do it. I am the most suitable person to fight this kind of maggot." Chapter 633. Grey Wolf kept running in a big circle while West Gale and South Blood Hoof chased after him relentlessly. They also knew that it would not be easy to kill this watchdog. This watchdog that was loyal to the Yu clan's third young master was not an ordinary beast. It was a world-exterminating demon wolf. It hadn't matured yet, but once it matured, eating a heaven-rank powerhouse would be like eating cabbage. Because of this, Blood Hoof of the South and Gale of the West were determined to get rid of it. Only by killing it could they truly weaken the Yu clan's third young master's strength. Meow. With Grey Wolf's intelligence, it naturally knew that these two fellows wanted to kill it, so it did not face them head-on. Instead, it flew up and down in an irregular pattern, slowly stalling for time. The longer it took, the better it would be. Fierce Gale of the West and Blood Hoof of the South followed closely behind. They attacked frantically and spared no effort. They were bent on killing this great trouble. In the ruins, the battle that had paused due to the sudden change in events erupted once again. With the support of the totem pillars, Yi Kong, Fatty Hai and the others became stronger, while the number of enemies on the battlefield decreased. Seeing that the situation wasn't looking good, Bai Yunfei took out a black magic box. This was a saint-tier cursed magic box. Every time it was opened, it would release a curse power that cursed the enemy, but it also had a 20% chance of cursing the enemy. It was a double-edged sword type of monster. Ordinary martial artists did not dare to use it, because every time they opened it, the probability of the master's curse would accumulate. If they used it too many times, even if they were lucky enough to avoid the curse and win the previous battle, they would be unlucky in future battles. Bai Yunfei had a smug look on his face. From the ancient demon king, he had obtained a secret technique that allowed him to be immune to curses. In other words, using the cursed magic box would only curse the enemy. Without harming himself, it was beneficial and harmless. Magic box open. Bai Yunfei gently lifted the lid of the cursed magic box, allowing the overflowing black light to shoot out. The black light formed a demonic phantom and pounced towards Xue Tanlang. Xue Tanlang wanted to dodge, but to his surprise, he found that his body could not dodge the curse. Prince Tian Luo rushed over and pushed Xue Tanlang away. He then used his body to block the demonic phantom. Throwing caution to the wind, Bai Yunfei created a giant flaming shield to deflect Bai Yunfei's attack. Xue Tanlang was furious. His cool face did not change, but his eyes were filled with killing intent. He appeared behind Bai Yunfei and punched him hard. It came crashing down. The strangest thing was that Bai Yunfei, who had suffered a fatal blow, was fine. On the contrary, the Prince of Tian Luo spat out a mouthful of blood. His back caved in and his entire body turned into an ice statue. Xue Tanlang was stunned. His own attack had actually injured his comrade? This is the substitute curse. Bai Yunfei laughed proudly. Xue Tanlang, oh Xue Tanlang, do you know why I didn't dodge just now? I just want you to kill me with one punch. It feels so good. If you can hit me harder, I will feel even better. Ha ha. Do you know why I'm not afraid of the curse of the magic box? That's because I've placed a curse on myself. As long as this curse remains, the Pandora's box will never curse me. As long as I have the Pandora's box in my hands, you will all die a horrible death. Xue Tanlang hugged the trembling prince of Tianluo and raised his head to look at Bai Yunfei. His eyes were red with hatred. It's okay, I'm fine. Prince of Tianluo's mouth was bleeding non-stop. He tried his best to stand up, but his injuries were too severe and he couldn't stand up at all. If Xue Tanlang had thrown a heavy punch normally, Prince of Tianluo would still be able to withstand it if he was on guard. However, this substitute curse made his body unable to react at all. Just one punch was enough to severely injure his internal organs. Furthermore, this curse had an attribute. Xue Tanlang's cold punch had deeply penetrated into Prince of Tianluo's internal organs. This was the real reason why he was heavily injured. Bai Yunfei was extremely unhappy with Xue Tanlang's angry gaze. He felt that as a victor, he shouldn't be looked at with such a gaze. He punched himself heavily in the chest. Self-harm? Prince of Tianluo's entire body twitched as he spat out a mouthful of blood. It could be seen that Bai Yunfei's chest was fine, but his chest had clearly caved in. 3 of his ribs had been broken by the power of the substitute's curse. Fatty Hai's Hippo Meteor Punch and Yi Kong's Totem Pole had stopped right in front of his face and head. Now, everyone understood why this damned cursed magic box was a saint-rank treasure. It turned out that its curse was continuous. It wasn't limited to just one time. Prince of Tianluo's substitute curse was still in effect. Before the curse disappears, no matter what damage Bai Yunfei suffered, it would be transferred to Prince of Tianluo. This was the scariest part. Fatty Hai and Yi Kong, who were so angry that their lungs were about to explode, could only stop their attacks to prevent themselves from using too much force and killing their companion. They stopped, but Xue Qianren didn't. His claws flew up and down, tearing at Yi Kong and Fatty Hai's back. Blood and flesh splattered everywhere. Yi Kong and Fatty Hai wanted to retaliate, but Bai Yunfei raised his fist and prepared to punch his own head. Xue Tanlang howled in grief. He carried Prince of Tianluo and leaped 100 meters away, preparing to leave. However, Bai Yunfei appeared in front of him and stared at him coldly. Kneel down, otherwise Prince of Tianluo will die immediately. Running away is useless. The curse is effective within 100 kilometers. How far do you think you can run? If you don't want to see your companion's body smashed into pieces, then kneel down. Impossible, I'd rather die. Prince of Tianluo struggled in pain. Slap. Bai Yunfei slapped him hard. Shut up, it's not your turn to speak now. I'm the strongest now, everything is up to me. Bai Yunfei wanted to hit him a second time, but he was grabbed by Xue Tanlang's extremely enraged strength. His entire body was pressed to the ground by Xue Tanlang. His raised fist almost smashed Bai Yunfei's head into a smashed watermelon. Yi Kong and Fatty Hai held on to Xue Tanlang's fist tightly. There's a way to break it, there must be a way, don't be rash. Let's think about it, there must be a way to break this damned curse. Let's leave this scum Bai Yunfei alive for now. Bear with it for a while, we'll think of a good way soon. While they were persuading Xue Tanlang, the arrogant Bai Yunfei stood up in a relaxed manner. He purposely tidied up his tattered clothes to show that he was calm. Together with Xue Qianren and Xue Qianqiu, he attacked Prince of Tianluo crazily. Xue Tanlang, Yi Kong and Fatty Hai used their bodies to protect Prince of Tianluo, who had already fainted. They did not move at all, allowing the enemy to attack them. The Li brothers rushed forward. Bai Yunfei opened the magic box. It was the second time he used it. The Li brothers were blinded at the same time and were easily kicked away by Xue Qianren. Let me do it. Lu Yi did not know if her cleansing, inherent skill could dispel the curse of a holy ranked artifact, but she really could not sit and watch her companions get beaten up by the enemy. All of you, leave this place immediately. Xue Tanlang, whose face was covered in blood, grabbed Xue Qianren's hand and threw him away. Yi Kong and Fatty Hai also kicked Xue Qianqiu away and held Bai Yunfei down together. They understood that Bai Yunfei, who possessed a holy ranked artifact, could not be defeated with normal methods. This was not only the curse of a holy ranked artifact, it was also the scheme of the ancient Demon King. The ancient Demon King had already predicted this outcome. Unless Yu Yang was here, there was no way to break the enemy's plan. If they continued to fight now, it would only speed up Prince of Tianluo's death. Therefore, they could only choose to retreat temporarily. Xue Qianren was furious. Just as he wanted to attack the Li brothers, Fan Luantai and the others, Xue Tanlang sealed him in ice with a punch. On the other side, Xue Qianqiu, who wanted to pounce on Lu Yi, was even more unlucky. With a cleansing inherent skill, he howled in pain and escaped from Lu Ye's side. Only now did he understand that this girl was not someone he could tease whenever he wanted to. Fan Luantai was an ox-head warrior who would never retreat normally. Today, she was the first to stand up and help the Li brothers up. Go, let's go. Those demon abyss lords who were originally at a disadvantage now surrounded them again. Want to leave? Not so easy. Just when everyone was in a dilemma, Bao Er, who had not really made a move, suddenly stood up and said timidly, "Why don't you let me try? I don't know if I can do it or not, but Brother Yu Yang said that I'm a lucky baby. Let me try. If I can't do it, don't blame me." Her words were like the light of dawn. In an instant it lit up everyone's hearts. Fatty Hai's tears flowed down. "My dear grandaunt, why didn't you say so earlier? You scared me to death. Quick, quick, save this brat. Nowadays there are fewer and fewer people who are willing to call me boss. We must save him. If this brat dies, that old fox will definitely break my bones. In the future, I won't be able to borrow his erotic paintings anymore." Xue Tanlang instantly appeared beside Bao Er. He reached out and grabbed Bai Yunfei's fist that was about to kill Bao Er. "I will settle this with you later." Cram. With a flick of his hand, Bai Yunfei, who was a level 3 innate, was thrown away. Bai Yunfei landed on the ground, stunned. When did Xue Tanlang, whose strength was originally on par with him, become so strong? Was this the power of anger? Or was this the hidden potential in Xue Tanlang's body that had yet to be developed? Bao Er quickly summoned her grimoire and summoned her guardian beast, Little Flower Fairy. Little Flower Fairy rushed towards the unconscious Prince of Tianluo and waved her hand. A rainbow light entered his body. In an instant, a demonic figure jumped out from Prince of Tianluo's body. Without waiting for it to leave, Little Flower Fairy immediately used a rainbow bubble to trap it. That demonic figure struggled with all its might, trying to escape. Bao Er shouted anxiously, "Oh no, my Little Flower Fairy can't remove this curse, it can only weaken it. I need to find someone to bear the curse, I can't remove it completely." Ah! Bai Yunfei's expression was originally very bad. Now that he heard it, this golden elf clown was simply all bark and no bite. He, Xue Qianren and Xue Qianqiu laughed maniacally. Since they needed to find a substitute to bear the curse, they would still be controlled by themselves. Prince of Tianluo was already heavily injured. Wouldn't it be more reasonable to find another target to bear the curse? Bai Yunfei laughed, he laughed very happily. Xue Qianren laughed, he laughed very proudly. Xue Qianqiu also laughed, his laugh was very despicable. It was a laugh that made people want to cut his flesh, fry his skin, break his bones, pull out his tendons, and drink his blood, ha 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 ha. Yi Kong suddenly laughed too. He laughed like a madman. Next was Fatty Hai, followed by Xue Tanlang, who would never laugh normally. Even the Lee brothers, who could not make a single sound even if they were hit with a stick, all of them laughed crazily, tears flowing down from their eyes. They laughed until Bai Yunfei and Xue Qianren were dumbfounded, staring blankly at this group of enemies who seemed to have gone mad. Baffling. Could it be that this group of fellows were too shocked and could not take it anymore, causing them to lose their minds? Xue Qianqiu even jumped up in anger, using a crow's noisy voice to scream. "Don't laugh, there's nothing funny about it, all of you shut up. You are going to die soon, what's so funny about it? Shut up, you fools who still don't know when you are about to die, idiots." "I'm sorry, I thought of something funny just now." Yi Kong ignored Xue Qianqiu and turned to apologize to Bao Er. He then patted her head. "Quickly put the curse on me, I can't wait to see the effect of this curse." "Oh right, can you put the blind curse of the Lee brothers on me as well?" "Yes, it's okay to have more curses, just move all their curses to me." "It's okay to have more curses?" Bai Yunfei was stunned. Could it be that this Yi Kong's inherent skill was immunity to curses? Chapter 634. When Yu Yang, Xue Wuxia and Princess Sisai arrived at their destination, they realized that it was a huge lake. The stagnant water in the lake had already turned bright red. Countless sacrificial corpses floated up and down. "Seems like we are too late." Princess Sisai observed the surroundings with a solemn face. According to the messy traces on the shore, she quickly found some suspicious footprints with her 6 records inherent skill. From the footprints there were at least a few humanoid creatures that came out from the bottom of the lake. They were trying to use the footprints of the sacrificial corpses as cover to leave the lake quietly. Chase. City Mistress Fallen Flowers saw that the footprints were still wet, which proved that the enemies had left not long ago. If they followed the footprints now, they should be able to make it in time. "Something's wrong." Xue Wuxia waved her hand. She frowned and thought for a while. She shook her head. "We can be sure that some of the enemies have left, but are these sacrificial corpses playing tricks, or are they sealers that escaped? It's hard to say. I feel that there's something strange about this lake. Once we leave, we might miss something." Inan, who came out from the grimoire world, listened to Xue Wuxia's analysis and asked, "Then should we split up?" Without waiting for Inan to finish, City Mistress Fallen Flowers immediately refuted. "No, splitting up is a big taboo. We must gather together to unleash our greatest power. If we split up, it will be easy for the enemies to defeat us one by one. We cannot let the ancient demon king succeed." Wu Xia is right. Now that I think about it, I also feel that something is wrong. If the ancient seal was so easy to break, it wouldn't be an ancient seal. Black Hell King, Thousand Goblin King and Scarlet Emperor were all sacrificed many times by the enemies and escaped after hundreds of years. Now that the ancient demon king just asked the Black Hell army to find some people to sacrifice, would he be able to break the ancient seal? Impossible. There are 2 possibilities in this situation. One is that the ancient demon king has been trying to break the seal for a long time. 2 is that he is playing tricks and deceiving us. Princess Sisai thought about it and nodded in agreement. There are many possibilities for the second point. Xue Wuxia hit the nail on the head. More importantly, if these sealers are the friends and subordinates of the ancient Devil King, will he leak the secret to us? Definitely not, only the enemy could. The ancient Devil King was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Not only did he release the sealed ones to cause trouble in Tong Tian Tower, he also borrowed our hands to eradicate his enemies. Her words caused Princess Sisai, Castellan Fallen Flowers, and Inan to ponder. The ancient demon king's ultimate goal was definitely the god's ruins. Logically speaking, it would be better to have a competitor. Now that the ancient Devil King had yet to recover his strength, he had hurriedly released the ancient seals. This proved that his intentions were not that simple. There must be some deeper meaning. What should we do? The girls finally gave the decision to Yu Yang. Let's make a hypothesis. Since the enemy has escaped far away, we might not be able to catch up in time, so why should we bother? As the saying goes, a bird in the hand is worth 10 birds in the bush. Now that there is a problem with the lake, let's first investigate it. If there is no problem, then we will chase after them. Anyway, we don't have much time, so let's do what we have the most confidence in. Yu Yang smiled. The enemy's train of thought was undoubtedly unpredictable, but it could be deduced in reverse. Since it was impossible to guess the enemy's real movements, then at least don't go in the direction that the enemy had planned. In other words, if you want to do something, do what the enemy doesn't want to see the most. There is a problem with the lake? There were also water-stained footprints as he fled. Splitting up to chase after them was what the enemy wanted the most, so they must not do according to the enemy's plan. What the enemy didn't want to see the most was that Yu Yang and the others stayed behind to investigate the lake. Otherwise, the enemy wouldn't have left such obvious escaping footprints in front of Princess Sisai, who had the 6 records' inherent skill. This was simply showing that they were hiding something. Go down and take a look, we will wait for you on the shore. Castellan Fallen Flowers felt that this might be the best way to lure the enemy out. No. Yu Yang rejected immediately. Don't worry, we will be fine. Castellan Fallen Flowers originally practiced body fusion with Yu Yang, and with the guidance of the Night Empress and Ji Zun, she had improved greatly. Especially the spiritual energy field that was similar to the power of the ancient code left behind by the Heaven Stairway ancient rankers. She understood it more than Inan and mastered it better. Even if she faced an enemy that was far above her level, she could still fight. At least, with her high attack and low defense, protecting herself was no longer a problem. Her favorite beast, the 9-tailed fox spirit, under the guidance of Ji Zun's secret technique, had gradually walked the path of a humanoid divine soldier. Every bit of progress and every bit of improvement was filled with the painstaking efforts of Castellan Fallen Flowers. The 9-tailed fox spirit was not yet, but it would definitely walk the path of a holy beast or even a divine beast. Because of its special connection with Castellan Fallen Flowers, the 9-tailed fox spirit would become an existence like Ji Zun's humanoid divine soldier blood-winged angel, which was different from normal divine beasts. Having confidence is one thing, but executing the strategy is another. Yu Yang laughed. If the enemy is not an idiot, the plan to lure the enemy will fail. The ancient demon king is not an idiot. He even thought that we might use the plan to lure the enemy. So, we must do something that he doesn't like the most, that way we can make him go crazy. All of you, come here, let's do this. I hate scheming the most. Princess Sisai didn't like it on the surface, but in fact, she admired Yu Yang's slyness the most. Shui Wuxia? She was the most tacit executor of Yu Yang's plan. Yu Yang kept Shui Wuxia, Princess Sisai, Castellan Fallen Flowers and Inan back into the grimoire world. Then, he dived into the lake that reeked of blood. He dived deep into the lake and dived down according to his intuition. Almost as soon as he dived, a few shadows appeared in the ruins in the distance. Seeing that Yu Yang did not split up his forces, nor did he follow the footprints. Instead, he kept the girls and dived deep into the lake. The leader of the shadows couldn't help but sigh. Your Majesty is right. This Yu clan's 3rd young master is really hard to deal with. With this kind of person around, our plan to conquer Tong Tian Tower will be very difficult. Why does Tong Tian Tower always have such outstanding youths? I thought that the prison emperor was an exception. I never thought that there would be another Yu clan's 3rd young master. The other shadow standing beside him immediately denied. No, the person who is a threat in Tong Tian Tower is not only the Yu clan's 3rd young master, there is also Ji Zun. The leader of the shadows nodded. I really look forward to fighting with her. It's a pity that we can't act openly for the time being. The previous shadow continued. Yes, Your Majesty's plan is very perfect, but we still don't have enough time. The few shadows who had not spoken all this while, the one on the left suddenly stood up and spoke with a buzzing voice. If we can't fight, then why did you invite us here from the heaven realm? We came out from the heaven realm gate and suffered a lot. Originally, we thought that we could directly enter the gods' ruins, but we didn't expect you to be so worried about this and that, acting as timid as a mouse. From what I see, that Yu clan's third young master is nothing special. He isn't even a heaven-ranked warrior. I can kill him with one punch. I really don't understand why you are afraid of him. The leader of the shadows listened quietly until the other side expressed their dissatisfaction, then slowly said, "Do you know why you are a team member and I am a team leader? Do you know why your palace master made you listen to my commands? The reason is very simple, because I am smarter than you. Don't use your pig-like brains to think. Making plans is not something you are good at, understand? The only thing you need to do is to shut up and follow my plan 100%. Finally, I want to say something. If Yu clan's third young master was so easy to deal with, why would my majesty invite your palace master to be his ally and share the benefits with you? He is so strong and smart. Why didn't he kill Yu clan's third young master alone and enjoy everything in the gods' ruins? Do you think that your palace master and his majesty are all fools and can't be compared to a pig-head like you?" His slow and calm tone carried a hint of disdain. It was as if he was talking about the simplest thing in the world. His tone was completely indisputable. The other shadows were very angry, but they couldn't do anything. This was because before they left, their palace master had warned them in a strict tone that if anyone dared to disobey orders and mess up the plan, their whole family would be executed. They didn't want their whole family's lives to be implicated by a moment of anger. Moreover, this team leader was indeed a smart person. Even the palace master valued the team leader. If it wasn't for the fact that the team leader was always loyal to his majesty, the palace master would have used the position of chief elder to retain the team leader. Whether it was strength or intelligence, they were far inferior to the team leader. Naturally, they didn't dare to turn against him. However, after hearing the team leader's ridicule, their hearts were still indignant. Was that Yu clan's third young master really that powerful? Even if he had a bounty of 100 million in the heaven realm, what did that mean? In the team, which one of them didn't have a bounty of 100 million? Let's go, we can't stay here for long. If Ji Zun and Night Empress find out, we will be in trouble. Maybe they will immediately be vigilant and see through His Majesty's plan. Before His Majesty's plan is realized, we can't act openly. The leader of the shadows looked at the lake before leading the team away. He had an illusion. It seemed that before Yu clan's third young master jumped into the lake, he had looked at him. Could it be that he could detect his presence from such a far distance? If it was true, then it was too scary. This matter was very important and must be reported to His Majesty. Maybe this was the secret of Yu clan's third young master. If His Majesty could solve the mystery of Yu clan's third young master, then the whole plan would be 10 times simpler. Unfortunately, the moment the leader of the shadows looked at the lake, he discovered that there seemed to be a strange energy in the lake, as if it was exploding at the bottom. He immediately exclaimed, "The secret at the bottom of the lake was discovered by Yu clan's third young master so quickly? Not good, this Yu clan's third young master really has a pair of special eyes. Maybe it's ghost genius Yu Gong's quintet puppet mice." His companion said uncertainly, "I hope so." The leader of the shadows sighed bitterly. "I hope this brat doesn't have an inherent skill like divine eyes, otherwise it will be very troublesome." At the bottom of the lake, the quintet puppet mice summoned by Yu Yang found a special enchantment. If it was someone else, they would definitely not dare to move. However, Yu Yang, who had the inherent skill of divine eyes, used the Tao Tai blade and slashed down heavily, directly opening the enchantment. The unknown enchantment opened with a rumbling sound, but it did not break. The ingenuity of Yu Yang's strength in this slash, the precision of his timing, and the reasonableness of stopping the energy of the enchantment were simply like a work of art created by a master. The most amazing thing was that in the eyes of outsiders, Yu Yang's slash did not open the enchantment, but broke the enchantment. The difference between the two was like heaven and earth. When Yu Yang opened the enchantment, he could use Heaven Eye's divine vision to observe, copy and remember the enchantment before it disappeared. However, breaking it would not have such an effect. Outsiders would not know that when Yu Yang opened the enchantment, he was also learning. Just like a thief who opened a new magic lock and learned a new skill, without experiencing it personally, it would be impossible to know the secret behind it. Countless energy rushed out from the enchantment. It filled the whole lake. A huge and ancient teleportation circle appeared in front of Yu Yang. Without waiting for Yu Yang to step forward and activate it, it flashed. Countless Heaven Realm dwarves that only existed in the Heaven Realm surged out from the other side of the teleportation circle like a tide. In the middle of these Heaven Realm dwarves, there was a type of Heaven Realm goblin that was not tall but was especially strong. It was at least Earth rank level 3 and above. It was holding a whip and ruthlessly whipping the dwarves, ordering them to line up in a certain formation and sacrifice the teleportation circle. According to Yu Yang's judgment, this was to increase the teleportation circle's energy through the sacrifice to reach the possibility of summoning a super strong Heaven Realm expert. So it's like this. Very interesting. Yu Yang looked at the endless stream of Heaven Realm dwarves and those fiendish Heaven Realm goblins and laughed. Chapter 635. There were many types of sacrifice. Both Demon Abyss and Soaring Dragon Continent were different. Of course, Heaven's Stairway had another method. The most direct sacrifice was the Demon Abyss's life sacrifice, also known as blood sacrifice. This kind of blood sacrifice was the cruelest and the least effective. However, it had no strict restrictions and could be used in large numbers. For a place like Demon Abyss with a large number of demons, blood sacrifice was what the demon kings were most willing to see. The Soaring Dragon Continent used soul sacrifice. It was a ranker who was willing to sacrifice himself selflessly to achieve a certain goal. It could be said that Yu Shan's suicide on the Black Hell King was this kind of sacrifice. It was because his soul sacrifice was achieved that the Black Hell King's betrayal inherent skill was temporarily ineffective and he was killed by sky execution. The biggest difference between the Soaring Dragon Continent and Demon Abyss was that one was voluntary while the other was forced. 6,000 years ago, the Prison Emperor used his life and soul to seal the three great leaders of Heaven Realm. It was also considered as a sacrifice. It was a higher level and more powerful heaven and earth sacrifice. It was also the most commonly used method by Heaven's Stairway rankers. This kind of heaven and earth sacrifice not only required the ranker's voluntary sacrifice, but also the sacrifice of all living things in the world. It was more powerful. When a Heaven's Stairway ranker carried out the Heaven's Stairway sacrifice, all living things in a large area would participate. The power was enough to destroy the world. There were two reasons why Yu Yang saw that the Heaven's Stairway world was barren. First, the most intense battle had happened. Second, the Heaven's Stairway rankers carried out the heaven and earth sacrifice. Those especially strong Heaven Realm goblins were preparing to kill a large number of Heaven Realm dwarves to use as a blood sacrifice for the ancient teleportation circle. A golden arrow flew and accurately hit an Earth rank level 5 goblin leader. In an instant, that ugly and ferocious fellow turned into a stone statue. If this attack was not enough to cause panic among the Heaven Realm goblins, then the appearance of the gold-ranked level 8 Blood Python King intensified the panic. Stone Element Medusa, who was standing beside Yu Yang, summoned the Gold Tiger Shark King and the Blood Python King. The Blood Python King was in a weak state because it was seriously injured and gave birth. Stone Element Medusa did not let it come out to fight. Today, the Blood Python King, who had finally recovered, could not wait to show its skills. It was also a ferocious creature in water battles. Under the horrified gazes of the heaven-realm dwarves and goblins, it stretched out its long neck and bit down on an Earth rank level 4 goblin warrior. The strength of the blood python king's huge bite could easily break the bones of the goblin warriors, but this did not satisfy it. When the heaven-realm goblin warrior was struggling, it threw the goblin warrior's body onto the stone pillar of the ancient teleportation circle. Rumble! Before the half-dead heaven-realm goblin warrior could react, the blood python king had already wrapped around the stone pillar. The blood python king's huge body tightened. The Earth rank level 4 goblin warrior's bones were all broken, his internal organs exploded, and blood flowed out of his 7 orifices. He died painfully. The blood python king infants that were only gold-ranked level 3 followed behind their mother. They were a little timid and bloodthirsty as they popped their heads out one by one. One of the blood python king infants moved the fastest. After his mother released the gnome warrior, he immediately opened his mouth and swallowed the bloody corpse of the gnome warrior. Although they were infants, these blood python king infants grew very fast. Their total length was more than 10 meters. Of course, compared to their mother who was more than 50 meters long, they were just insignificant snake. Seeing the blood python king's display of power, the gold tiger shark king was not willing to fall behind. After eating the flesh of various strong creatures for a long time and participating in battles for a long time, its level and strength had already surpassed the blood python king. The gold tiger shark king had already reached gold-ranked level 10. Although it could not level up, its battle power was constantly accumulating, far surpassing other gold-ranked level 10 beasts. Yu Yang did not have time to care about it at the moment. Otherwise, he could think of a way to make it mutate and become stronger. Of course, the Gold Tiger Shark King's training could not be compared to Hui Tai Lang's. After all, its battle power was still limited to water battles. If it could fly in the sky like the ancient demon shark, Yu Yang would naturally train it more. In other words, if it wanted to stand out, it had to work harder. As the Gold Tiger Shark King and the Blood Python King continued to slaughter, the Heaven Realm goblins who were in charge of maintaining order died one after another. In the end, not a single one survived. Even if there were teleportation circles, it was not enough for the two beasts to kill. Yu Yang thought that the Heaven Realm dwarves would flee in all directions. He did not expect it to be completely different. Those Heaven Realm dwarves who were scared out of their wits did not run away. Instead, they knelt down. They neatly knelt down in a circle, waiting for Yu Yang to deal with them. They were very docile. They did not resist at all and did not have the guts to run away. In the ancient teleportation circle, as the Heaven Realm dwarves continued to die, the number of Heaven Realm dwarves and Heaven Realm goblins that came out without any sacrifices became fewer and fewer. Finally, after a long time, a goblin leader came out. After the Blood Python King and the Gold Tiger Shark King joined hands to kill it, there were no more movements. Yu Yang waved his hand and ordered the Heaven Realm dwarves to wait for him at the shore. He brought the stone element Medusa and tried to enter the ancient teleportation circle. The Gold Tiger Shark King and the Blood Python King let Yu Yang stay behind. Standing on top of the ancient teleportation circle, Yu Yang used a large amount of magic crystals to activate the energy, causing the energy pillars to light up. The teleportation happened in an instant. When Yu Yang and the stone element Medusa slid out from the space-time tunnel, they discovered that they had arrived at a water world. In this strange water world, there was water as far as the eye could see. The only place where they landed was a small island. The surroundings were densely packed with Heaven Realm dwarves and Heaven Realm goblins. The number of these two was probably not less than 100,000. Those Heaven Realm dwarves were dumbstruck. They did not have any ill intentions towards Yu Yang, this uninvited guest. On the other hand, those reckless Heaven Realm goblins actually flew into the sky and pounced on him. Hundreds of Heaven Realm goblins pounced on him, covering the sky. Unfortunately, their levels and strength were too low, so they were unable to pose a threat to Yu Yang. When Yu Yang was preparing to kill those Heaven Realm goblins, he suddenly discovered that there was a strange power here. It was not as obvious as the power of the 12 zodiac temples, but it also forbade the owner from personally taking action. The strangest thing was that in this water world, this power also forbade the use of weapons. The stone element Medusa was stunned. She immediately kept her bow and arrows. Her flaming snake hair danced in the air. A shrill shout. Her eyes shot out a kind of terrifying light that was similar to death's stare, which could directly harm the soul. This was the first time Yu Yang saw her use this kind of special skill. The Heaven Realm goblins who saw her shining eyes all fell headfirst into the water. Without even entering the water, they all turned into stone statues. Yu Yang used his Heaven Eyes divine vision to observe. These Heaven Realm goblins did not die immediately, but their souls and bodies were greatly injured. Unless the stone element Medusa was willing to dissolve it, these Heaven Realm goblins would not be able to recover from their stone state. However, the stone element Medusa did not let her enemies go so easily. She used both of her hands to guide the petrified enemies. Those stone goblins all disintegrated and their souls were annihilated. Their remaining life energy was extracted by the stone element Medusa and gathered in her palms. Do you want to use this energy to upgrade your weapon? Yu Yang just realized that life energy had such a wonderful use. Yes. The stone element Medusa nodded. The stone element Medusa's killing did not scare the enemies away. Instead, it aroused the ferocity of these Heaven Realm goblins. Relying on the large number of people and the Earth-ranked level 6 Goblin King, those ugly and violent Heaven Realm goblins, after a short period of shock, became even more ferocious and fearless. Because of the existence of the water world's laws, these goblins did not use any weapons. Moreover, they only had whips made of rubber bands on their waists. Those whips could only be used to threaten and expel the cowardly Heaven Realm dwarves. They did not have any killing power. Facing these crazy goblins' attacks, the stone element Medusa, who was fighting alone, was very angry. She felt that her dignity was being challenged by the weak. She was furious. Her head full of snake hair moved without any wind. One by one, the snake hair that was originally sleeping opened their eyes, opened their mouths, and revealed their fierce fangs. Countless flaming arrows shot out of the snake's mouth like arrows. They were extremely powerful and could easily hit the Heaven Realm goblins' foreheads, directly exploding the enemy's head. The most frightening thing was that these flame arrows were like snakes, swimming as if they had a life of their own. Even if the enemy dodged the shot, they could still follow the owner's will and automatically follow the owner's will. They would only disappear when they hit the enemy. The stone element Medusa's flaming snake hair was originally a fake nirvana flame created by the Gemini Temple's replication law. After merging with Yu Yang's Heaven's Fury Fire Lotus, Twilight Flame, and Pure Blue Fire form, her uncontrollable fire ability had become freely controlled. Originally, her head was covered in flames. Her usual snake hair had turned into a faint blue, pure fire snake. Only when she was fighting or angry would it burst into flames. Of course, this was not her final evolution. Yu Yang hoped that one day she would be able to merge more fire ability and evolve into her own demon fire. The raindrop-like flame arrows shot out, exploding the heads of the approaching Heaven Realm goblins. 3 waves of attacks were useless. Even the craziest Heaven Realm goblin lost their morale. The Heaven Realm Goblin King thought that the enemy in front of him could not be defeated. He immediately waved his hand and ordered his subordinates to retreat into the water to avoid the enemy. He thought that by escaping into the water, he would be able to escape from this terrifying Medusa, who knew that water battles were stone element Medusa's true strength. Stone element Medusa, who was preparing to enter the water, discovered the enemy even earlier than Yu Yang. She instinctively stood in front of Yu Yang and stared at the unknown depth of the water. This is a hell hydra. Yu Yang frowned. The Hell Hydra was not a Tong Tian Tower creature, but a Heaven Realm creature. In Tong Tian Tower, normal Hydras were only bronze-ranked creatures. A small number of elites were silver-ranked and kings were gold-ranked. The Hell Hydra was different from the Hydra of Tong Tian Tower. This kind of creature was born as a gold-ranked child. The elites and kings were platinum-ranked. A small number of Hell Hydra kings with extremely long lifespans could even be selected as one of the 10 great vicious beasts of Heaven Realm. The 10 great vicious beasts of Heaven Realm were led by the Heaven Realm Giant Dragon, followed by the Ancient Demon, Ancient Slaughterer, Hell Hydra, Dragon-Eating Demon Spider, Intimidating Demon Eye, Thunder-Winged Tiger, Flame Manticore King, and others were all on the list. There weren't many Hell Hydras that could occupy a spot in the top 5 of the 10 great ferocious beasts list. They weren't like the Heaven Realm Giant Dragons and the Ancient Demons that had armies. The reason why they had such a ferocious reputation was because of their greed, savagery, and violence. The Hell Hydra that emerged from the depths of the water was as big as an island. Moreover, there was more than one. There were as many as 5 of them. The strongest was Heaven-ranked level 5, and the weakest was Heaven-ranked level 3. Yu Yang could not imagine it. How could there be such strong creatures sealed in the Heaven Stairway? And who was it that sealed these Hell Hydras here? If it was just to seal these 5 Hell Hydras, why would they need to use the power of the forbidden weapon? Chapter 636. If the strongest creature sealed in this water world was the Hell Hydra King, Yu Yang would definitely not believe it. What he was most worried about was that the Hell Hydra King was a subordinate of some old man. Or a fellow inmate. Just like the black-bearded man Mo Long, the ancient demon shark, the ancient island whale, the electric dragon eel, and the cuttlefish king sealed in the southern Heaven Realm's Cannibal Lake. Could these 5 Hell Hydras be the subordinates of some ancient demon? It was hard to say. The Hell Hydra King seemed to have a certain level of intelligence. When it saw Yu Yang and Stone Element Medusa, its eyes seemed to be suspicious. The other 4 Hell Hydras were the opposite, especially the one that had just matured and was the smallest. Once it saw Yu Yang and Stone Element Medusa, it attacked. A few of its huge heads spat out flames, ice, lightning, black fog, and poison at the same time, covering the sky and earth as they attacked. Stone Element Medusa was experienced in battle and was not afraid. For someone with intelligence like her, the pressure of her rank was nothing. She still wanted to fight, but Yu Yang felt that it was stupid to start a fight like this. Maybe it was what the ancient demon king was thinking. Let's go. Yu Yang flew high into the sky. In this water world, there were no restrictions on flying, nor were there any restrictions on flying. Stone Element Medusa was not good at flying, but she was close to a holy beast, so floating in the sky was not a problem. 4 Hell Hydras that were as big as islands spat out different types of energy at Yu Yang and Stone Element Medusa at the same time. They attacked, forming a net of fire in the sky. If it was only Stone Element Medusa, she might not be able to dodge all of them. But Yu Yang pulled her hand and easily passed through the fire net. They were almost close to the water surface as they glided away. The 4 Hell Hydras chased relentlessly, but they quickly realized that Yu Yang had left their attack range and instantly teleported away. Having lost their target, they could only helplessly return to the Hell Hydra King's side. The Hell Hydra King had a strange look in its eyes. He seemed to be thinking about something. Very quickly, it reacted and hurriedly dove back into the water. The 4 Purgatory Hydras didn't understand, but they instinctively followed it. After diving for almost 1,000 meters, the bottom of the water wasn't pitch black. Instead, there was a strange scene. Countless luminous plants and animals decorated the bottom of the sea, making it as bright as the starry sky. Under the illumination of some extremely large luminous plants, it was as bright as day. There was nothing on the surface of the water, but the bottom of the sea was not barren. On the contrary, the flourishing life made this place an indescribably wonderful world. Seeing the Hell Hydra traversing through the sea, all the fish dove into the reef. Even some of the glowing plants shrunk into a ball. However, the Hell Hydra King did not care about its surroundings. It swam directly towards a huge underwater forest. No one knew how huge that forest was. Each tree was an ancient tree that was 100 meters tall. After swimming for 10 kilometers, a large clearing appeared in the forest. An ancient sealing circle that was 10 times bigger than the ancient teleportation circle outside appeared in the center of the clearing in the forest. There were 10 crystal pillars erected around it. The Hell Hydra King returned to the center of the ancient sealing circle. Just as it was about to go back to sleep, its eyes suddenly opened wide. It looked towards the southeast. On one of the crystal pillars, Yu Yang's silhouette appeared. "Thank you for leading the way. I finally understand what is going on." Yu Yang did not wait for the Hell Hydra King to get angry and immediately teleported away. What ancient teleportation circle sacrifice? Everything was just the ancient Demon King's plot. The ancient Demon King had 3 plans. First, he wanted to lure Yu Yang to split up his forces, then he would capture hostages and force him to go crazy. Second, when Yu Yang entered the ancient teleportation circle, he would definitely fight with the Hell Hydras. Both sides would be heavily injured, and the ancient Demon King would be able to reap the benefits. Third, when Yu Yang killed the Hell Hydras that were guarding him, it would give the ancient Demon King a chance to release his comrades. These Hell Hydras were guarding him. He didn't know why, but they were definitely guarding him. The real sealed old demon was still trapped in the ancient teleportation circle. The Heaven Realm Goblins and Heaven Realm Dwarves were probably the laborers that provided food for the Hell Hydra. Maybe the ancient Demon King had convinced the Heaven Realm Goblins. When the sacrifice took effect, these Heaven Realm Goblins chased the Heaven Realm Dwarves away. If not for Yu Yang's arrival, these Heaven Realm Dwarves would have all escaped. The Hell Hydra would have no one to feed them. Maybe it would have left the guarded area to look for food and let the ancient Demon King have his way. Yu Yang, who returned to the surface of the water, immediately let Stone Element Medusa, Storm Mermaid, Thunder Naga and Ice Serpent Demon split up to search the small islands of the water world and kill the Heaven Realm Goblins. Only those Heaven Realm Goblins were eliminated. The Heaven Realm Dwarves were very tame and would not leave this water world, at least not for the time being. In Yu Yang's heart, he had a strong premonition that after this small hidden battle, there would be a big battle waiting for him. Therefore, he let Shui Wuxiao and Princess Sisai rest for the time being so that they could be at their peak condition to face the big battle. The ancient Demon King was definitely not easy to deal with. What other tricks did he have up his sleeves? Yu Yang was waiting. He would deal with the changes by remaining unchanged. Ha 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 ha! On the other side of the battlefield, Yi Kong, who was cursed, laughed crazily. It was as if he could not bear the pressure and became a madman. Demon Bai Yunfei, Beast Xueqian Ren and Insect Xueqian Qiu were all confused. They guessed that Yi Kong had some kind of inherent skill that was immune to or weakened curses. Otherwise, Yi Kong would not be laughing so proudly. Bai Yunfei used his demon claws to cut the back of his hand. The skin that was protected by demon scales did not split open. The skin on the back of Yi Kong's hand was splattered with blood. The substitute curse did not lose its effect at all. When Yi Kong stopped laughing and looked at Bai Yunfei and the others, Bai Yunfei and the others were stunned. This was because what they saw was a pair of blind eyes. The eyes were empty and there was no light at all, just like a blind person. Yi Kong's inherent skill did not have the inherent skill to be immune to curses. Moreover, Yi Kong had just contracted a grimoire not long ago. Even if his inherent skill was very strong, it was impossible for him to be immune to the power of a holy ranked treasure. "You're just a clown. Who are you trying to scare?" Bai Yunfei used all his strength to hit his body. He did not feel any pain, but Yi Kong on the other side was immediately trampled by hundreds of mammoths. His body caved in, his bones made cracking sounds, blood spurted out from his mouth and nose, and some of his skin exploded, revealing bloody wounds. By Yunfei, you impotent eunuch, can't you use a little more strength? I am very disappointed. You only have this little strength? Yi Kong wiped the blood from his mouth and nose lightly and looked at Bai Yunfei with a disdainful expression. Bullsh *T. Bai Yunfei flew into a rage. Perhaps it was some kind of defect in his body, caused by his demonization, that stung his heart. He used an almost crazed manner to beat himself up fiercely. It was completely a form of self-torture, self-mutilation. Bai Yunfei knew that this kind of self-torture and self-mutilation would explode twice on Yi Kong's body, while nothing happened to him at all. Everyone watched quietly, no one stopped him. Xue Qianren and Xue Qianqiu were watching a good show. Xue Tanlang was cool and expressionless. Surprisingly, Fatty Hai and the Li brothers also looked like they were watching a good show. Bai Yunfei's self-mutilation caused his body to feel a little pain. He felt that his ribs were a little cracked. If he did not have the substitution curse, he believed that his self-mutilation would have caused serious injuries. He stopped and looked at Yi Kong. He felt that he should be able to see a Yi Kong whose bones were all shattered. However, he was disappointed. Yi Kong was still standing. Although his body was covered with cuts and bruises, he still had a disdainful expression on his face. He ignored the various injuries on his body and spat on the ground. You don't even have the strength to hit people, yet you still want to act cool? You're just an idiot if you continue to act cool. No, this is impossible. Bai Yunfei roared angrily. He knew that the strength of his fists was enough to split mountains and split rock. After self-mutilating for hundreds of times, not to mention a human, even a golden mammoth would have been killed long ago. Why did Yi Kong look as if nothing happened? Why were his injuries even lighter than before? I will tell you the answer before you die. Yi Kong, who was blind and covered in blood, walked towards Bai Yunfei step by step. Scram! Bai Yunfei's demonic claws flew out. The strength of his claws was so great that he could completely tear Yi Kong's body into strips of flesh. His speed was incomparably fast. However, something strange happened. Although Yi Kong's body had many more claw marks, his injuries were not serious. On the contrary, they were getting lighter and lighter. Although Bai Yunfei's strength had increased, the injuries he caused were getting lighter and lighter. In the end, Bai Yunfei was tired and panting. Yi Kong was still standing in front of him, perfectly fine. He asked him with an extremely disdainful tone, "Have you fought enough? If not, I will let you fight for a while more. With your grandson's appearance and strength, you still dare to come out and show off?" Bai Yunfei retreated a few steps helplessly and looked at Yi Kong in fear. Xue Qianren did not give up. Waving his flaming claws, he and Xue Qianqiu pounced forward and attacked Yi Kong crazily. Yi Kong did not have any intention of defending himself at all. He only took the beating. However, when Xue Qianren and Xue Qianqiu were tired, they realized that Yi Kong was still standing there. There was almost no place on his body that was not injured. However, they were all superficial wounds and his internal organs were not heavily injured at all. Xue Qianqiu shot out a tentacle with thorny teeth. He wanted to bite Yi Kong's face and destroy his entire face. However, after biting for a long time, the tentacle only left a few teeth marks. Impossible! Xue Qianqiu and Xue Qianren were also dumbfounded. How could there be such a defense in this world? Could it be that this brat's innate skill was defense? However, if his defense was extremely high, he should not be injured at all. How could he be covered in cuts and bruises? Bai Yunfei and the others could not think of an answer. Yi Kong did not wait for them to think and suddenly waved his fist. The meteor-like fist streaked across the short space. It accurately hit Bai Yunfei, Xue Qianren and Xue Qianqiu's bodies. Bai Yunfei's reaction was the fastest. The moment he was hit, he was already 50 meters away. Xue Qianren's reaction was also very sharp. He borrowed the force of the fist to retreat, attempting to dissipate this seemingly weak punch. However, he staggered a step, rolled his eyes and fell to the ground with a loud bang. A huge fist imprint was deeply indented on Xue Qianren's chest. With Yi Kong's current heaven-ranked level 1 strength, it was impossible for him to create such a terrifying punch. Why? Bai Yunfei was still thinking about this question when he bent down and vomited. The pain made him unable to think further. Bai Yunfei felt that his internal organs were almost crushed into pieces. When he vomited them out, the pain was simply indescribable. Was this Yi Kong's punch? An innate level 1 fighting against a peak innate level 3. Could he beat him until he vomited blood? Because he has the standing erect inherent skill, and his guardian beast fortitude. Fatty Hai laughed out loud. I'm very sorry, as his boss, I did not introduce him to you. My little brother, Yi Kong, is the least afraid of being hit. You guys don't know, his life is cheap. Just like Hui Tai Lang, the more you fight, the more energetic he becomes. He will always stand erect on the battlefield. If you don't hit him, he might fall. The more you hit him, the more damage he will receive, and the more powerful his inherent skill will be. As for the special type Guardian Beast Fortitude, it is the same. The more you hit him, the stronger he becomes, and the more powerful his counterattack will be. Do you know why I have to explain? Because there is a person's inherent skill here. The more desperate the enemy is, the more powerful it will be. If he was a big mouth, you guys would have died 10 times already. Stop talking nonsense. Xue Tan Lang increased his strength and snorted. Quickly send them on their way. Chapter 637. Impatience led Hai Yingwu, Yu Bing and Drunken Cat to the Ancient Seal. There was not a single person at the Ancient Seal. Was this some kind of conspiracy? Did they fall into a trap? Everyone be careful, something is not right. Impatience protected Yu and Yu Bing by her side, while Hai Yingwu summoned the golden three-headed dragon to search the surroundings. Actually, with Impatience's senses, nothing within a 10-kilometer radius could escape her eyes and ears. However, to an expert, 10 kilometers was a distance that could be covered in the blink of an eye. It was not safe and could only ensure that they would not be ambushed. It is possible that there is no one here. After all, the number of enemies is not enough. If they are too scattered, then their strength will be reduced and the effect of the sacrifice will not be good. It is very possible that this is a false report to make us split up and lure us away. Hai Yingwu judged. It is also possible that the enemy's main target is us. Impatience was not at ease and her heart sank. Since we are here, then we must fight to the end. Yu Bing's expression was firm. After Yu Yang's teachings and tens of battles, she had changed from a stubborn girl to a qualified warrior. The current her was strong, confident, and full of vigor. Compared to the depressed her from before, it was a world of difference. Actually, she was the one who suggested to fight separately from her brother. She did not want to hide behind her brother forever. She wanted to stand out and fight to help her brother. If she wanted to do that, she must become stronger and stronger. She knew that fighting was dangerous, but for the sake of training, she did not hesitate. Not only her stubborn character, even Yu, who was as gentle as water, had such thoughts. Hai Yingwu looked at Drunken Cat and Miss Pandanyonyo and asked Impatience softly, "When will the people from Demonic Palace arrive?" Impatience frowned and said, "They might have already arrived, but in the battle. Divine wrath, divine calamity, and divine calamity won't be much slower than us." The fact that heavenly wrath, heavenly crime, heavenly wrath, and heavenly disaster had yet to arrive meant that the problem was serious. Should they continue to wait, or should they search for it? Everyone turned to look at Impatience, with her as the leader. Yu Yang wasn't here, and Impatience was the Lady of Heaven's punishment. She was the strongest, and had the most experience in battle, so it was best to listen to her. Wait! Impatience thought about it and decided to stay. Not only would they not be able to find it, it was also easy to miss it. Another point was that the enemy might take the opportunity to perform a sacrifice, which was another kind of diversion. Lastly, if Sky Wrath and the others could not withstand the enemy's attack, then it would be useless even if they went to support them. If they could withstand the enemy's attack, then it would be better for them to wait here. Impatience chose to believe in her companions, and Yu Bing and Yu also chose to believe in Impatience, the Lord of Heaven's punishment. After waiting for about an hour, a group of people finally entered Impatience's sensing range. They were Heaven's Wrath, who was covered in blood, Heaven's Crime, who had a hole in his lung and was coughing nonstop, and Heaven's Sword, who was lying unconscious on Heaven's Kill's back. Sky Calamity, whose clothes were tattered and looked a little disheveled, was the least injured. There was also Heavenly Calamity, who couldn't hide himself, and Divine Wrath, who was indifferent even though he was injured. The group from Demonic Palace had finally arrived. However, all of them were injured. To be able to come here, they had already gone through an extremely difficult battle. Sorry, we're late. There was no helping it, there was a traffic jam on the way. Sky Crime, who always had his suitcase with him, joked. This joke was learned from Yu Yang. Whenever Yu Yang was late, he would find all kinds of excuses, such as traffic jam. How many did you guys fight? How did you end up like this? Impatience was a little sad, especially when she saw Sky Calamity's disheveled appearance. Her heart ached even more, but she didn't show it on her face. She even mocked her, as if this kind of companion wasn't good enough, and disappointed her. The people from Demonic Palace obviously knew her temper. Everyone laughed and found a place to sit down. Only Sky Calamity threw herself into Impatience's arms and acted like a spoiled child. The other party has a heaven ranker, it's very troublesome. Sky Calamity, who was originally the second Sky Demon, was now surpassed by Impatience in all aspects, reminded. No wonder, it's fine. It's not like I haven't killed a heaven ranker before. A trace of anger flashed in Impatience's eyes. They dared to touch Demonic Palace? Even if it was a heaven ranker, they would still be killed. 10 minutes after the heroes from Demonic Palace arrived at the ancient sealing circle, a large group of people appeared. It was the entire Thunder Corps of the Black Hell King. The one leading them was Thunder of the Center, the commander of the Thunder Lizards who once plotted against Wyvern Valley. War Tiger of the East, Wild Gale of the West, Blood Hoof of the South, Fierce Tooth of the North and Thunder of the Center. Among the 5 commanders, Thunder of the Center was the strongest. He controlled the entire Thunder Corps. After War Tiger of the East and Fierce Tooth of the North died, he took over their corps. Thunder of the Center was a level 9 innate. He was definitely not the strongest in this group. What was even stronger was a mercenary group that had never appeared in Tong Tian Tower before. In Heaven Realm, this was a mercenary group that couldn't even enter the top 1,000. But in Tong Tian Tower, their strength could completely shock the heroes of Demonic Palace. In this mercenary group of only 15 people, there were actually 2 heaven rankers. Although they were both heaven rankers level 1, they could do whatever they wanted in Tong Tian Tower. Not to mention these 2 heaven rankers, even their subordinates, the 13 mercenaries who weren't doing well in Heaven Realm, were all Earth rankers above level 7. 3 of them were Earth rankers level 9, 4 were Earth rankers level 8 and 6 were Earth rankers level 7. With the strength of this mercenary group, no one would dare to criticize them if they were to directly conquer the entire Guangming continent or Darkness continent in the 10th floor of Tong Tian Tower. Unfortunately, they were not satisfied. They went down to the Heaven Stairway in the 1st floor of Tong Tian Tower and coveted the gods' ruins. Their fates were sealed. Tong Tian Tower is good. There are so many beautiful girls. The people here are so weak and all of them are coward. Ha 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 ha, that's right. That person was right. This is a good place. Since it's a good place, then it shouldn't be occupied by some incompetent humans. Tong Tian Tower should belong to us. Its resources, beauties, treasures and everything else should belong to us, who are stronger. Although we suffered a little here, it's all worth it. The leader of the mercenary group saw impatience, Hai Yingwu, Yu Yu and Yu Bing. His eyes lit up and he drooled. How can a patient with mental illness be heaven rankers? Could it be that the specialty of heaven realm are idiots? Impatience shook her head and sighed. Ha 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 ha. The mercenary group members were not angry at Impatience's words. Instead, they laughed out loud. In their eyes, these beauties in front of them were already in the bag, firmly grasped. The only problem was how to distribute them. The vice leader was a huge bear man with muscles. He was heaven rank level 1 and was only slightly weaker than the leader. This bear man was probably from the same race as the three-eyed tiger man that Yu Yang knew. In front of Impatience and the others, he pretended to be simple and honest. He pretended to be kind and said, "Beauties, don't be afraid. Actually, we are not bad people. As long as the beauties are obedient, we promise not to harm a single hair on your head. We, the Charging Wolf Mercenary Group, were invited here mainly to maintain peace in Tong Tian Tower. We are fighting for justice. If there are any misunderstandings between us, we can slowly discuss and solve it through negotiation. I can't think of anything to negotiate with a bear." Impatience sneered in disdain. "Sis, something's wrong. The heaven rankers that we saw earlier were not these two." Sky Disaster quickly reminded Impatience. "I know, that guy is invisible. With such a disgusting look, he thinks that others can't see him. He is really a clown." Impatience pointed forward. A bolt of lightning with a small amount of judgment power shot out. It passed through a few hundred meters of space and hit an empty space. The space shattered. A man wearing a tall hat, with an especially crooked nose, wide mouth and small eyes, wearing strange clothes, jumped out from the empty space. He originally wanted to casually deflect the lightning, but he did not expect his judgment to be wrong. The judgment power numbed his fingers and the electric shock made him tremble. If his strength was not at the peak of heaven rank level 2, he would have turned into a charred black man. If Yu Yang was here, he would immediately recognize this person's emblem. This was a heaven ranker from the clown group. Be careful, this person is good at shadow shifting. Sky's wrath reminded Phoenix Fairy Beauty. Although she was also an innate Elder Level 2 equivalent to Heaven-ranked Level 2, the other party still had 3 Heaven-ranked rankers. Moreover, the Ancient Demon King might be hiding in the dark and launching a sneak attack. No matter what, nothing could happen to Impatience, the backbone. Her existence was a deterrent to the enemy. At the same time, it was also the foundation of her companion's confidence. If she fell, then the consequences for Yu Bing and Yu would be unimaginable. "Don't worry, I will be fine. We will all be fine." Impatience did not think that the enemy could easily defeat her. So what if there were 3 heaven rankers? She had enough confidence that even if it was Ancient Demon King, before he recovered his peak strength, it would not be easy for him to defeat her. Sky Law was confident, because under Ji Zun's guidance, she had made great progress recently. With Yu Yang's body fusion she was reborn, and at the same time, her guardian beast, Charm Demon Queen, was promoted to a divine beast. Finally, she went through the Death Arena battle and the Heaven Realm battle. Even she herself was surprised by her improvement. If it wasn't for the fact that there was an even more abnormal Yu Yang in front of her, she might have become arrogant. While constantly comprehending the power of Sky Law and Ji Zun, she also received guidance from her sister and Night Empress. Impatience's will was already 100 times firmer than before, and there were faint signs of gradually forming Ji Zun's heart. In the distant east, suddenly, there was a sound of a pipa. This sound was like big and small pearls falling on a jade plate. Yellow sand appears before the green grass, stepping out of the formation, looking at millions of people. A few of them are the same year. Banners, fierce horse whips, back figures far away, looking at the setting sun in the twilight, not returning to the distant mountains to rest. Wolf riders go straight in, fire beacons rise continuously. Although the mountains and rivers are still there, white bones are buried in the 9 peaks. The song has stopped, the old and the young work in the fields. The pond blooms with white lotus, family no longer think. There was no wind in the sky. In the originally deathly silent sky, one could see a beauty like a fairy descending to the mortal world, her clothes fluttering in the wind, flying in the air. People listened to her beautiful playing, forgetting everything else, especially her beautiful voice that was like the first cry of a phoenix. It was even more intoxicating. All the soldiers of the Thunder Corps, at this moment, did not even know that their souls were taken away by the song of the pipa, they only listened quietly. Even the 3 heaven rankers from the heaven realm, who were already vigilant, could not bear to open their mouths and interrupt her music. They looked at her, watched as she came, watched as the soldiers fell to eternal sleep wherever she went. Chapter 638. It's you. Impatience frowned. Actually, she had guessed that the Southern Demon King would come to fight, but she didn't expect her to come here to support her instead of looking for Yu Yang. I didn't miss any exciting battles, did I? The Southern Demon King waved her hand lightly, her jade-like fingers moving lightly on the lute. Ding ding dong dong. The heavenly music. It rang out again. It was so beautiful that it felt like spring water dripping into one's heart, intoxicating one. Thunder of the Center's eyes slowly widened. This lute music was really a fatal move. This round of sound waves was obviously aimed at him. With his skills, he was naturally able to resist it, but his personal guards all vomited blood and fell to the ground amidst this soul-devouring music. If it was said that the Southern Demon King had flown over and killed almost 100 people, he was already furious. If it wasn't for the fact that he had a well-thought-out plan that didn't allow him to interfere, he would have already flown into a rage. Now that the Southern Demon King had provoked him with sound waves, at least 10 of his personal guards died tragically with their internal organs ruptured. The most tragic thing was that even in death, the expressions on the faces of these dead personal guards were still strangely intoxicated, as if they didn't even realize that their internal organs had ruptured. The leader of the Charging Wolf mercenary group, on the other hand, clapped his hands and laughed. Beautiful, such beautiful music, such elegant killing techniques, such a pleasant surprise. The Southern Demon King smiled sweetly. There's more to come. Without waiting for Thunder of the Center to speak, her hands started to dance rapidly. Like a thunderstorm, the originally beautiful and moving lute music changed, becoming sonorous, impassioned, and sonorous, as if thousands of soldiers and horses were galloping on the battlefield. Even the person with the slowest sense of music seemed to be able to see the cavalry that was like a stream of iron. Under the command of the commander, they galloped on the ground in an orderly manner and swept towards the enemy, causing one's blood to boil uncontrollably. Look, the war flag fluttered in front of the Iron Army, leading the warriors to charge forward. Listen, the beating of the war drums, the claps of the horses' hooves, shaking the ground, causing the sky to change color. Facing the rain of thousands of arrows, facing the erect spears, those warriors who would die in the next second, even if their hearts were to be pierced in the next second, they still charged forward fearlessly. Even if they were killed and their bodies overturned. Even if their bodies were trampled into meat paste by the hooves of the horses, they would still gallop without hesitation. The entire battlefield was enveloped in the Southern Demon King's murderous music world. Those from the Thunder Crash Corps who heard it all fell to the ground one after another. Some seemed to have been shot in the forehead, some seemed to have been pierced through by spears, some seemed to have fallen off their horses, and some seemed to have been trampled into meat paste by their comrades. The way they died was the same as the warriors in the music world. Their souls roared soundlessly. Starting from the weakest, they collapsed to the ground one by one. Those who were slightly stronger were struggling to hold on, but with the changes in the world of music, they had long been intoxicated to the point that they could not extricate themselves. If the central thunderbolt commander could step forward and shout at the top of his lungs, "Break this world of music," they might have been able to survive. Unfortunately, the current central thunderbolt was also immersed in the world of music. Even if he stuffed his ears with his fingers, he could not stop the resonance of his soul. It was not only the central thunderbolt that roared, even the heaven-ranked Charging Wolf mercenary group's leader and vice-leader could not avoid falling into the illusion of music. The person who got rid of it the fastest was the man in the top hat from the clown group. He did not open his mouth to disturb the Southern Demon King's performance. Firstly, he loved music and could not bear to break this heavenly music that made his soul tremble. Secondly, the soldiers of the Thunder Crash Corps were originally meant to be sacrificed. Borrowing the other party's hands to kill them would not make the Central Thunderbolt feel disgusted. Although he did not care about the Central Thunderbolt's opinion, he still relied on the Central Thunderbolt when it came to sacrificing the ancient Seal Circle and exploring the god. Thirdly, the Sky Law opposite him was currently condensing a terrifying Sky Law lightning. He did not doubt that the moment he interrupted the Southern Demon King's performance, the terrifying Sky Law lightning would strike his head. Why should he bear this Sky Law lightning for the Charging Wolf mercenary group? The Charging Wolf mercenary group was originally meant to be the scapegoat. The man in the top hat did not open his mouth and only remained silent. He retreated a little and tried to face the Sky Law from a safe distance. He cleverly transferred the Sky Law's killing intent towards him to the leader of the Charging Wolf mercenary group. Under the situation where no one interrupted, the Southern Demon King continued to play. It continued. Her hands were no longer dancing, but playing slowly. The rhythm slowed down, just like the temporary calm after a storm. After listening to this part of the music, the people seemed to see the sky dyed red with blood. The storm had passed, and the bloodthirsty warriors fell to the ground. Corpses were scattered all over the mountains and plains. The battlefield was exceptionally bleak. The remaining warriors slowly crawled out from the pile of corpses. They did not cheer, they only sat numbly on the pile of corpses, their eyes dull and lifeless. Small raindrops started to fall from the sky. The bone-chilling cold and the night wind that reeked of blood sprinkled on the battlefield. The raindrops joined the twisting streams of blood and converged into a pool of blood. Other than the fluttering flags, there was nothing else that was moving. Darkness descended. Dark clouds, moonless, the sky and the heart were both gray. The bleak and mournful cold wind blew across the battlefield. The light rain gradually turned into snow. The cold wind continued to blow, as if it could blow to a faraway home. Countless white-haired parents, countless wives who leaned against the door, silently shed tears. They would never be able to see their loved ones again. Only children who did not understand sorrow would laugh under the light and raise the bowl in their hands to ask for more food from their mother. But they did not know that what they had just eaten was the last bit of food in their home. The faces of the elderly parents were filled with sorrow, while the wives forced a smile and comforted the elderly. Only in the middle of the night, when no one knew, did she dare to secretly sob a few times. The heavy snow started to cover the bloody battlefield. A few old soldiers who had died walked unsteadily. From time to time, someone would fall. They would fall asleep forever. In the last troop that returned, only one person was left. His lonely figure gradually moved further and further away in the wind and snow. When the sun rose in the east, people could see that the last shadow had not walked out of the boundless snowy plains. He had long since turned into an ice sculpture. Only his eyes were reluctantly looking in the direction of his hometown. Behind that ice sculpture was a long trail of blood-colored footprints in the snow. Waves of cold wind blew past. There was no longer any life between heaven and earth. Hoo-hoo! When the lizard commander, Thunder of the Center, woke up from the music, he realized that his body was frozen stiff. Even his face was covered in frost, and the breath he exhaled was white mist. He did not dare to imagine that even he, who was a level 9 innate, could not resist this kind of musical illusion. What would happen to his subordinates? When he turned around, what he saw was a vast expanse of white ice sculptures. The entire Thunder Corps, close to 10,000 elite. All of them had turned into ice sculptures. Other than a few innate rankers who could barely survive, the rest of them were completely annihilated. No, ah no! Thunder of the Center groaned in pain. He pressed hard on his heart. For the first time in his life, he felt heartache. He felt despair. This blow to the enemy was no less than hearing the news of the Black Hell King's death. Even though the commander of the Thunder of the Center was already on high alert and had even plugged his ears, he never expected that the Southern Goblin King's musical illusion would still resonate with his soul. It was still able to trigger the reaction of his body's energy, causing him to uncontrollably indulge in the musical illusion. What made Thunder of the Center despair the most was that because the Southern Demon King had released 2 waves of musical attacks, he had gravely underestimated her true strength. He thought that he could defend against her musical attack. Who knew that when she used her ultimate move, the entire Thunder Corps would be annihilated? If the Thunder Corps was killed by Skylaw, a heaven-ranked ranker, Thunder of the Center would not feel so heartache. However, the Southern Demon King was a girl of the same level as him. Why did she have to destroy the Thunder Corps that he had spent 100 years to build with just one attack? Thunder of the Center was so angry that his lungs almost exploded. Kill! He charged towards the Southern Demon King. He did not care about any tactics, rules, or plans. All he wanted to do was to kill this girl who destroyed his entire army in one move. She must die. The Southern Demon King, who was hugging her jade pipa, floated into the sky with a disdainful expression. She was like a fairy descending to the mortal world. Her movements were beautiful. Even when she was dodging Thunder of the Center's fatal attack, it was as if she was dancing in the sky. She knew that she was not as powerful as Skylaw, but she could still kill the Thunder Corps and lure the furious Lizard Commander away. As for the 3 heaven-ranked rankers, that was Skylaw's problem. She was temporarily unable to deal with them. Just like how she came, the Southern Demon King who wanted to lure Thunder of the Center away quickly disappeared into the horizon. Thunder of the Center chased after her. The 2 of them quickly disappeared from the battlefield. Sky Wrath, Sky Calamity, and the rest of the demonic palace looked at each other in fear. Luckily, this Southern Demon King was not an enemy. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. Who would be able to break through this kind of musical illusion? The Southern Demon King was only a level 9 innate now. If she were to advance to heaven-ranked and reach the innate Elder Realm, who in the world would be able to fight against her with her sonic attack? Even if there was, it would be very few. The Eastern Goblin tribe was indeed not simple. No wonder they were known as the strongest tribe in Tong Tian Tower. Not bad, I like it very much. The leader of the Charging Wolf mercenary group from the Heaven Realm pretended to clap his hands. Actually, even though he was a heaven-ranked ranker, he was also shocked by the music. Luckily, the enemy did not take the opportunity to attack. Otherwise, it would be embarrassing. In order to cover up his loss of composure, he decided to show off his skills. The death of the Thunder Corps' elite soldiers was exactly what he needed to sacrifice human lives for the ancient teleportation circle. He pointed his finger and imitated Impatience's posture just now. A heaven-ranked energy from his finger swept across the ground, creating a 100-meter-long, 2-meter-wide and 3-meter-deep trench from his front all the way to the edge of the ancient teleportation circle. At the same time, he pretended to snap his fingers, causing his palm to ignite into a raging flame. The heat engulfed the entire area and quickly thawed the 10,000 ice sculptures created by the Southern Demon King. Countless amounts of frozen blood flowed into the trench. Slowly, it flowed towards the ancient teleportation circle. Although the effect was not as good as sacrificing human lives in the ancient teleportation circle, it was still better than wasting it. "Let's add your blood too." Impatience's figure disappeared. When she appeared again, she was already behind the leader of the Charging Wolf mercenary group. 3 heaven-ranked rankers attacked at the same time. The leader seemed to be prepared. His sharp claws tore the sky and earth as he counterattacked Impatience. The Bearman Vice leader threw out his strongest punch. As long as it hit, Impatience would definitely die. There was also the Tall Hat Man. He was even faster than the two of them. His green zombie-like fingers stabbed towards Impatience's back like poisonous blades. "You've fallen into our trap," the leader of the mercenary group sneered. In his eyes there was a sinister glint of light. "Die." Impatience only replied with one word. She did not dodge. Instead, she stretched out her jade-like hand and pressed it against the leader's head with the power of Sky Law. Under the combined attack of 3 heaven-ranked rankers, she was instantly sent flying. Her body formed a beautiful parabola as she fell from the sky. When she stood firmly on the ground, her body trembled slightly. There were 10 intersecting wounds on her back, and her left arm and shoulder were also dripping with blood. However, everyone looked at the Lady of Sky Law in shock. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. It was not because of her injuries, but because of her terrifying destructive power. The leader of the Charging Wolf mercenary group that came from the Heaven Realm was a powerful and fearless heaven-ranked ranker. In front of everyone's eyes, his head exploded. Soul annihilation. Instant kill. The headless corpse fell to the ground and blood splattered all over the ground. The most terrifying thing was that this fellow did not even know that he had died. Before his head exploded, his face still had the arrogance of a successful scheme. And Impatience, who had instantly killed a strong enemy, wiped away the blood at the corner of her lips without a care. She charmingly looked at the dumbfounded Bearman Vice leader and revealed a beautiful yet deadly smile. "Next, it's your turn." Chapter 639. Gulp. Seeing that their leader was killed by Impatience in one move, the Bearman Vice leader swallowed his saliva in fear. His eyes were filled with fear. Actually, not only him, the entire Charging Wolf mercenary group was scared half to death. A heaven-ranked ranker was killed just like that. Looks like the people from Tong Tian Tower were not to be trifled with. Otherwise, why would the Western Heaven Realm spend so much effort to seal the Heaven Realm Gate? Fortunately, there was no one like the Prison Emperor. Otherwise, the small Charging Wolf mercenary group would just be sending themselves to Tong Tian Tower. The Tall Hat Man was secretly happy. It didn't matter that the Charging Wolf mercenary group's leader was dead. He was just a scapegoat. This Sky Law's power was terrifying. It was an instant kill. But it was obvious that this Sky Law's power could not be maintained forever. After using it once, it would take a long time before it could be used again. The Charging Wolf mercenary group's leader's death was not in vain. At least he had indirectly protected his own life. As long as Sky Law killed the Bearman, then her Sky Law's power would be almost depleted. He would be the final victor. The Tall Hat Man felt that although there were some differences in the plan, it did not deviate too much. It didn't matter how many of his allies died, as long as he could live. "Go, everyone go!" The Bearman saw that Impatience was staring at him and felt a chill down his spine. He immediately ordered his comrades to attack to distract her. He needed a hostage to ensure his life. Otherwise, the Charging Wolf mercenary group's leader would be his role model. Without waiting for the Charging Wolf mercenary group's Heaven Realm mercenaries to rush forward, the demonic palace's Sky Wrath, Sky Calamity, Sky Crime, Sky Fury, Sky Sword and Sky Assassinate had already rushed forward. Sky Calamity fought against the Thunder Corps' 3 vice commanders. Actually, these 3 vice commanders were from the Thunder Corps, War Tiger Corps and Tusk Corps. Each of them was an innate level 6 or even innate level 7 ranker. With the 3 of them working together, their power was not to be underestimated. Sky Calamity immediately fell into a bitter battle. There were also a few Demon Abyss rankers, all of them were innate rankers. They rushed towards the Panda Sis, Yu Yu and Yu Bing. They blamed the Southern Demon King's annihilation of the Thunder Crash Corps on them. Yushan sacrificed himself to kill the Black Hell King, and the Yu clan's 3rd young master obtained a complete victory in the Death Arena, indirectly forcing War Tiger of the East and Fierce Tooth of the North to their death. They naturally didn't have any good feelings towards the Yu clan. If you think that you can defeat us just because you are an innate, then you are gravely mistaken. Drunken Cat was not afraid at all. She unleashed her full strength and charged forward. She, who had been tortured by Yu Yang many times, had an abundance of battle experience. In the past, she was still a little fearful of innate rankers. But now? She was fighting innate rankers. Innate level 1, innate level 2, so what? When she sparred with Yu Yang, that brat at least used the strength of a level 4 or 5 innate. Innate level 1 and innate level 2 were nothing to him. Little Panda Nyo, before the battle started, she carefully kept the sweet red bean cake in her hands with a handkerchief. This was a dessert that 4th Mother had specially made for her. She couldn't waste even a single bit. After keeping the red bean cake, she faced the stunned enemy in front of her and nodded her head in a childish voice. "Thank you for waiting for me. Nyo is ready. Let's fight." The Demon Abyss ranker saw that the Panda girl was easy to trick and thought of a plan. "Little girl, why don't we sit down and eat sweets together? I have a lot of delicious sweets, all of them are very sweet." "Thank you, but Nyo can't take the baddie's things." The Panda Abyss ranker was very principled. She swallowed her saliva and shook her head with difficulty. I am not a baddie, I am a good person." The Demon Abyss ranker immediately pretended to be a good person. It stretched out its hand. Many colorful sweets appeared in its palm, dazzling Nyo's eyes. The Panda girl Nyo stared blankly. She turned her head away in pain, indicating that she didn't want it. Suddenly, she sneaked a peek at it and asked weakly, "Are they really sweet?" The Demon Abyss ranker saw that it had a chance and nodded its head. It tempted her again. "I'll give them all to you. I still have a lot. You can eat as many as you want." The Panda Nyo, who had no resistance to sweets, walked 2 steps closer and stopped again. She walked 2 steps closer and stopped again. The Demon Abyss ranker kept tempting her. It peeled off another sweet and threw it into its big mouth. It chewed loudly, indicating that it was very fragrant and sweet. Nyo was obviously tempted. She walked closer and closer. The smile on its face did not change, but the complacency in its eyes became stronger and stronger. Wasn't it easy to deal with a beast with low intelligence? According to the information, the Panda girl Nyo loved to eat sweets the most. As long as it prepared some poisonous sweets for her to eat, it would be able to win without a fight and easily take her down. Just when this fellow was at its most complacent, suddenly, the Panda girl Nyo exploded with a thunderous punch. It landed heavily on its heart. This innate level 1 fellow was directly sent flying. The Demon Abyss ranker's sternum was broken. It vomited blood and fell to the ground. "You actually wanted to use delicious sweets to bribe Nyo. Aren't you a bad person? Brother said that if you are not a relative, whoever gives Nyo sweets is a bad person. You are too despicable. You obviously know that Nyo likes these delicious sweets, yet you still use them to tempt Nyo. I hate you. Brother said that Nyo must teach bad people like you a lesson. Otherwise, she would be tricked. Nyo will never be tricked. You are a bad person who bullies children. Die." The panda girl Nyonyo's anger exploded. Her strength was at least a few times stronger than usual. She rushed up and beat the demon abyss ranker, who had already vomited blood to the ground. The demon abyss ranker screamed miserably. Of course, Yu Yang knew the panda girl Nyonyo's weakness. Hence, he had trained her specially. He forbade her from accepting food from anyone other than himself, Fourth Mother, Drunken Cat and Yu Yu. During her special training, she was not allowed to accept food even when Fatty Hai and Yi Kong tried to tempt her. The purpose was to strengthen her willpower, deepen her memory, and form a conditioned reflex. Anyone who tried to bribe her with sweets was an enemy. According to Yu Yang's special training, Nyonyo must pretend to be tricked. She must get close to the enemy and explode with a heavy blow. This special training was very successful. In the end, this guy who thought that he had succeeded was met with tragedy. I'll hit. You are a bad person who bullies children. I have to teach you a lesson. Hit. If Nyonyo the little panda girl had not launched a sneak attack and started the battle with the demon abyss ranker, her chances of winning would only be 50-50. However, her sneak attack was successful, and the demon abyss ranker's body was heavily injured. For a moment, she did not even have the strength to fight back. She could only endure the pain, crawl up and escape. Get out of the way! After sending Yu Yu flying, her companion rushed up to take her place. That guy sneered. You can't even defeat a lesser holy beast. Is that all you have? Be careful. This panda girl is not simple. That guy coughed blood and reminded his companion. That's because you are useless, not because she is powerful. Get out of my way. Kids should go home and drink milk. This is a battlefield. There is no place for you kids to live. The other demon abyss ranker was proficient in hellfire. His claws parried the little panda girl Nyonyo's fists, and he spat out a high-temperature flame from his mouth, scalding Nyonyo so much that she screamed and retreated hurriedly. How dare you hit my second sister and Nyonyo? I will not forgive you. Yu Bing saw Yu Yu being sent flying and Nyonyo getting burned. Anger exploded in her heart. Originally, she saw that Sky Disaster was in the most critical situation and was prepared to help. Now that she saw that Yu Yu and the little panda girl were no match for them, she immediately summoned the Titan Ancient Tree and the Green Light Tree Demoness to personally fight against the two innate rankers from the Demon Abyss. Although Yu Bing's character was stubborn, her temper was usually very good, and she rarely lost her temper, but once she lost her temper, she would be similar to Yu Yang, the type that would go berserk. Yu Bing's eyes widened. Her pupils turned green and glowed faintly. Her black hair stood up and danced in the air. Between his 10 fingers, a terrifying energy gushed out and rapidly expanded, forming a huge energy field. In this energy field, the 30-meter-tall ancient Titan tree and the Green Light Tree Demoness battle prowess multiplied, becoming one with their master's will. When the two inborn rankers arrived, they realized that this energy field was comparable to a domain. They were shocked. The inborn ranker who used candy to deceive Nyonyo quickly retreated. He was already injured. Now that he was in the domain, he obviously did not dare to fight with Yu Bing. On the contrary, his companion who thought that he was more skilled advanced instead of retreating. He clawed at Yu Bing's face and spat out flames from his mouth. He definitely did not believe that someone who was not an innate could defeat him, a level 2 innate ranker. Even Yu Clan 3rd Young Master's sister would not be able to do so. From its information, this Yu Bing wasn't even able to defeat Feng Qi Sha previously. Even if she improved under Yu Clan 3rd Young Master's guidance, she would still not be his opponent. She was not even an innate, it was impossible for her to defeat him. Die. Your brother is Yu Clan 3rd Young Master, but that does not mean that you can survive my attack. This fellow laughed coldly in his heart. He realized that his sharp claws had almost pierced her eyelashes. She did not even have time to react, which increased his confidence in killing Yu Bing. Crescent moon, Yu Bing did not parry. She only somersaulted backwards. Her body did a beautiful somersault and her legs drew 2 silver crescent moons in the sky. It wasn't the first time that Yu Yang had spent so much effort to design this kick technique for his sister. However, its power was 100 times stronger than before. With just a flip, that arrogant innate rancor was sent flying. That fellow felt a great pain in his chest. His body had already been swept into the air by Yu Bing's power. In the sky, the ancient titan tree's mountain-like palm slammed down. It was like swatting a fly. It directly hit that fellow to the ground. The enemy was still twitching in pain and could not dodge in time. In the next moment, the ancient titan tree's huge foot slammed down again. The innate level 2 demon Abyss Rancor used his hands to resist the attack, but he was ruthlessly stepped into the ground. The ancient titan tree stretched out its hand and dug out the enemy along with the soil. It slammed the enemy heavily on the ground for the second time. At the same time that the enemy vomited blood, countless thorns had already wrapped around the enemy's body. At the bottom of its feet, the thorns protruded from the ground and pierced through the enemy's body like a skewer. The injured demon Abyss Innate Rancor dived down to help, but what he saw was his companion who was covered in dark green. He was poisoned. Even if he could save his companion, he would definitely not be able to live. It was so scared that it quickly ran away. Unexpectedly, a shadow flashed in the sky. Yu Bing kicked it down. Moon's step. Yu Bing's kick wasn't enough to kill her. The one that was truly terrifying was the Titan Ancient Tree. Its reaction simply surpassed all other plant-type beasts. At the same time when Yu Bing had just kicked the enemy down, it had already caught the demon Abyss Rancor who was trying to tempt Nyo with candy. Rumble! It pressed the ground directly. Its palm sunk 10 meters deep into the ground. Its strength was so great that the ground trembled. It only let go when the thorns had wrapped around the enemy. Then, it mercilessly slammed its foot down again. The demon Abyss Rancor was not dead yet. It kept vomiting blood and struggled, trying to escape from the thorns. However, Yu Bing did not care about it anymore. Only Yu dove down, the angel's blade behind her crossed like a pair of wings. With one slash, the demon Abyss Rancor's head flew into the sky. Big tree, trample! Yu Bing had already arrived at Sky Disaster's battlefield. The Titan Ancient Tree ignored the shockwaves from the battle between the innate rancors and charged into the battlefield. According to Yu Bing's instructions, the Titan Ancient Tree trampled the Thunder Vice Commander, who was a level 7 innate, to the ground. The Lightning Deputy Commander struggled painfully from under the feet of the Titan Ancient Tree and dug a trench out of the ground. Like a groundhog, he was stomped by the Titan Ancient Tree for a dozen steps before he finally managed to escape in a sorry state. Only now did he realize that the sister of the Yu clan's third young master was actually a strong opponent. Especially her beasts, they could not be underestimated. The Thunder Vice Commander's beast was a giant thunder lizard. It was originally a powerful beast, but in front of the ancient Titan Tree, it was not even worth a fart. It could only be abused. Kill! The fierce Fang Army's vice commander attacked Yu Bing. He thought that as long as he could kill this little girl, even the strongest beasts would be useless. Big Tree reset. The green light tree demoness had been protecting her master. Facing the enemy's attack, she waved her hand and magically swapped places with Yu Bing and the ancient Titan Tree. The ancient Titan Tree took the Tusk Legion's attack head-on and immediately counterattacked. In the instant that the Tusk Legion's vice commander could not catch up to it, the ancient Titan Tree's entire arm extended several meters. Its branches and leaves grew, and it swatted the Tusk Legion's vice commander away like a fly. This green light tree demoness is the key. When the War Tiger Army's vice commander realized this problem, it was already too late. Sky Disaster had won a chance to breathe. She shouted angrily, "You damned bastards, have a taste of my power! Sky Disaster, descend!" When Sky Disaster was angry, it was no joke. Previously, she was beaten by the 3 vice commanders to the point that she could not fight back. Now she was completely provoked. Yu Bing's timely rescue gave her a chance to explode. When Sky Disaster's power was released, the people in the demonic palace who knew her well were so scared that they quickly distanced themselves from her. Impatience even gave up fighting and flew back, protecting Yu Bing, Yu Yu and the little panda Nyonyo behind her. Hai Ying-wu and Drunken Cat also repelled the enemies and returned behind Impatience. The enemies realized that something was wrong and quickly scattered, but it was too late. Sky Disaster, who was floating high in the sky, had already activated Sky Disaster's power angrily. The earth shook and cracked. The lava of the volcano gushed out from the ground and filled the air. In the sky, thousands of meteors whistled down. The scene was like the end of the world. The most terrifying thing was that these sky disasters all had a purpose. They did not fall randomly. Each of them had a specific target. Those meteors would automatically track their target. Sky Disaster's ultimate move needed time to show its power. When facing a strong enemy, her Sky Disaster's power was not very useful. But if she was angered once she had the chance to use it, it would definitely be a disaster like Judgment Day. The sky fell and the earth cracked. The end of the world. This was the biggest revelation of Sky Disaster's power. Chapter 640. The side of the lake was filled with Heaven Realm dwarves. After losing those fierce goblin managers, they did not know what to do in the future. Now they could only hope that their new master, Yu Yang, would come back. However, Yu Yang still didn't come out. The stone element Medusa, on the other hand, came out. She kept the gold tiger shark and sent the blood python king and a few young blood pythons towards the direction of Yi Kong and Fatty Hai. The Heaven Realm dwarves knelt on the ground and begged stone element Medusa to take over them. Even if they knew that she was someone else's beast, they could not live alone without a master. They were used to seeking protection from strong warriors. The stone element Medusa pointed at the blood python king, indicating that the Heaven Realm dwarves, who were as timid as mice, should follow her beast and leave this place. She patrolled around the lake alone, and finally dived into the lake, returning to Yu Yang's side. After she disappeared, the shadows from before reappeared in the distant ruins. The unsealing of the 3rd level of the Heaven Stairway has failed. Ji Zun and Night Empress have seen through our plan. Your Majesty's plan must be rearranged and adjusted to deal with the enemy. Otherwise, it will be difficult for our plan to unseal the Heaven Stairway to be effective. The leading shadow sighed worriedly. Ji Zun and Yu Clan's 3rd young master are indeed strong enemies. It's a pity that your Majesty's strength has not recovered yet. If we don't get rid of them soon and allow them to grow up, their combined power might even surpass the prison emperor. We still have some time. With the restriction of the Heaven Stairway seal, Ji Zun and Yu Clan's 3rd young master have at least one life gate in our hands. We have the initiative. On this point, we have the advantage. Even if we fight for time, we will still be at an advantage. Another shadow comforted. Yu Clan's 3rd young master is an unstable factor. If he does not die, we will not be able to rest easy. The leading shadow looked at the lake with hatred. He should be fighting with the Hell Hydra now. From stone element Medusa's calm patrolling, even if he does not have the upper hand, he is not at a disadvantage either. With his cunning and ability, it would be difficult for the Hell Hydra to defeat him. The only problem is how long will he stay in the water world? The longer it drags on, the more disadvantageous it will be for our plan. He will most likely discover that luring him in to kill the Hell Hydra was a trap. The man standing next to the leader of the shadows habitually cupped his chin and pondered, maybe we need a new plan. If Captain and Vice Captain don't mind, I have a good idea. A giant stood out from the Heaven Realm's few Heaven rank powerhouses. Let's hear it, the leading shadow muttered to himself. He decided to listen to what these muscle-brained guys had to say. Actually, if we want the Yu clan's third young master to not suspect our plan, it's very simple. We will go in and help the Hell Hydra to attack him. Even in his dreams, he won't know that our real target is the Hell Hydra and not him. The giant explained. As long as we enter, the Yu clan's third young master will immediately escape. The leading shadow did not think that this was a good idea. No, if all of us go in together, we will definitely scare off the Yu clan third young master and alert Jizun. But if we only send a few people, for example, a heaven rank who is proficient in water battles, to join hands with the Hell Hydra to attack him, we won't be able to defeat him. What will the Yu clan's third young master do? He won't escape. He will only speed up the process of killing the Hell Hydra. The giant laughed proudly. He thought that his plan would definitely work. There are two problems. First, how do we make the Yu clan's third young master think that the Hell Hydra and the person who enters are allies? The Hell Hydra's attacks are indiscriminate. This will make it easy for the Yu clan's third young master to discover that the person who enters is not an ally. Second, how do we control the intensity of the battle? If we are too strong, we will force the Yu clan's third young master to retreat. If we are too weak, we will be easily killed by him or not be able to restrain him. The leading shadow questioned. This. The giant was at his wits' end. He hung his head dejectedly, unable to answer. It's still possible to try. I think that the Yu clan's third young master knows that it is impossible to kill all the Hell Hydras, but he won't kill them all at once. He will first kill the weakest one, then continue to create chaos and slowly kill all the Hell Hydras. If we don't send anyone in and let him fight a long battle of attrition, it will be easy for him to be on guard. Sending someone in to participate in the battle is still reasonable. The vice captain, who was used to holding his chin and thinking, felt that the plan could be realized. Whether it would succeed or not depended on how they planned it. Jizun and Night Empress might come to support the Yu clan's third young master soon. If they enter the water world, things will become even worse. The leading shadow expressed that there was not much time and they had to formulate a plan immediately. Send someone who is good at aerial combat and attack from the sky. The vice captain took out a star-shaped treasure. This is the peace metal that can eliminate hostility. Although it won't be very effective against the heaven-ranked Hell Hydra, it is still better than nothing. I have another plan, which is to sink the ancient teleportation circle below the water world's level. The lower the better. At the same time, we will activate the teleportation circle outside and use the heaven runes to control the ancient teleportation circle's energy supply. This will allow the water inside to gush out. The Yu clan's third young master will not be able to teleport successfully and will have to be temporarily trapped inside until the water world's level is higher than the ancient teleportation circle. I estimate that if we can flatten the teleportation circle island and sink the teleportation circle 10 meters below, the Yu clan's third young master will have to stay inside for at least a year. Good plan. The only thing we don't know is whether the Yu clan's third young master can use teleportation scrolls to escape. The leading shadow was both happy and worried. With the Yu clan's third young master's teacher, Shui Donglu's spatial manipulation ability, it is not enough to affect the ancient ranker's seal. The Yu clan's third young master's space teleportation technique originated from Shui Donglu, and he did not study it much. The only problem is that they chased him to the heaven realm. There must be some kind of teleportation treasure. We don't have any relevant information on whether this treasure is with Jizun or the Yu clan's third young master. The vice captain analyzed. The Yu clan's third young master should not have any teleportation treasure because Yushan was present when Sky Execution killed the Black Hell King. If the Yu clan's third young master had this treasure, he would not be absent and would not sit and watch Yushan die. The teleportation treasure is probably not with Jizun or the Yu clan's third young master, but with the Night Empress. Jizun can split space, so the teleportation treasure is not very useful. But it is hard to say for this mysterious Night Empress. She is another strong enemy that we cannot underestimate. The leading shadow made a more reasonable deduction based on various information. Very well, if that is the case, then Mr. Yonghui, please make your move. The vice-captain handed over the piece metal to a shadow behind him. Why me? The shadow was a little strange. Isn't Yu Su's aerial combat ability higher? Yu Su is better at aerial combat, yes, but Yu Su has almost no water combat ability. Once he falls into the water, the consequences will be very serious. Captain Yonghui, your mission is not to kill the Yu clan's third young master, but to fight him. Let him be harassed by you for a long time, so that he has no time to think about our plan. You may be trapped inside for a year. In this year, you must ensure your own life, constantly consume the Yu clan's third young master's time and energy, and not give him the chance to train and improve. The leading shadow paused slightly, and handed over a bright pearl to the other shadow. This is the highest quality green dragon pearl among the 4 symbol pearls. It is even rarer than a holy object. With it, you will be like a dragon in the water. If you can gather the highest quality 4 symbol pearls and turn it into the 4 saint pearls, it can let the beasts become saints. This treasure was given to me by His Majesty in the past. Now I will temporarily lend it to you. I hope you will not let us down. After the mission is completed, His Majesty will definitely reward you handsomely. Yes. The heaven rank Yonghui was overjoyed. He quickly took it and swore that he would definitely complete the mission perfectly. His companion's eyes were full of envy. He wore the peace medal and carried the highest quality green dragon pearl. The heaven ranker called Yonghui flew across the sky like a meteor, and silently slid into the bottom of the lake. After the successful teleportation, he officially entered the water world where Yu Yang was. About 3 minutes later, a huge water column shot out from the bottom of the lake, reaching a height of 100 meters. This scene made the leading shadow happy, and he quickly ordered, "Search thoroughly, see if the Yu clan's third young master has escaped from the water world." The vice-captain had already rushed to the lake. After carefully sensing, he found that no one had left. He quickly dived into the bottom of the lake, and used the Heaven Rune Enchantment Circle to maintain the operation of the ancient teleportation circle. According to this extremely exquisite Heaven Rune Enchantment Circle, it could only teleport water or some extremely weak fish. To teleport an innate ranker like Yu Yang, it needed to increase the energy. The most ingenious thing was that as long as one side of the ancient teleportation circle was teleported, the other side could only wait. In other words, if the water flow did not stop, even if Yu Yang provided more energy, he would not be able to leave the water world. Unless someone found out that the energy of the ancient teleportation circle was controlled by someone. They came to destroy the Heaven Rune Enchantment Circle. The problem was that even the smart Ji Zun and Night Empress would only attribute the disappearance of Yu Yang to one of His Majesty's plans. It was impossible for them to guess that he was trapped in the water world. This was simply a perfect plan that came up with at the last minute. The timing and location were just right. It was even more ingenious than a human's plan. The reason why this plan could succeed was not because of the battle of wits, but because of the perfect timing and location. Now they only needed to deliberately mislead Ji Zun and Night Empress's attention to His Majesty, to Heaven Realm. Then, this Yu clan's third young master would be trapped in the water world for at least 10 years. The leading shadow and the vice-captain looked at each other and smiled. They were extremely pleased with the success of this temporary plan. In the water world, guild leader Yonghui, who had activated his super-strong heaven rank power and sunk the entire island by 100 meters, was also very proud. Even if he stayed in this water world for 10 years, it was nothing. At least, this top-quality Azure Dragon Pearl temporarily belonged to him. With it, he could cultivate stronger water-type war beasts. In fact, he had longed for the captain's top-quality azure dragon pearl for a long time, but he did not dare to express it. His previous refusal was also to lure out this top-quality azure dragon pearl. He did not expect that it would really succeed. As long as he stayed here for 10 years, then he believed that the captain would no longer be his opponent. Who would the top-quality azure dragon pearl belong to? At that time it was really hard to say. Clap, 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 clap. Yu Yang kept clapping his hands, expressing his welcome to guild leader Yong Hui's arrival, which made him a little confused. Was this kid crazy? What a joke. Kill. Guild leader Yong Hui did not care much about the Yu clan's third young master. He was not even a heaven rank, so what if he was strong? Wait, I don't want to make a move for now. Yu Yang waved his hand, the smile on his face was as bright as the sun. Maybe you guys will be neighbors for many years. You guys should say hello first. What are you talking about? Guild leader Yong Hui was a little confused. A few hell hydras were shocked by the sinking of the island. One by one, their island-like bodies floated out of the water. Yu Yang laughed. Actually, I can't bear to say goodbye to you like this. Moreover, there are very few people as generous as you. But since you took the trouble to bring the treasure, it can be considered as a kind gesture. I will reluctantly accept it. In another battlefield, Thunder of the Center, who had been chasing after the Southern Demon King, suddenly stopped. His face was filled with arrogance. He looked at the stunned Southern Demon King and laughed coldly. Princess of the Eastern Goblin Tribe, I'm very sorry. If you don't have any other abilities, then I will kill you here. Do you know why I chased after you for such a long time? I'm afraid of exposing my true strength. I don't want anyone to know my true strength. Actually, half a year ago I was already a level 10 and 8. My true strength is 10 times stronger than what you see on the surface. Thunder of the Center pressed his hands down and his body shook slightly. A terrifying power exploded at an extremely fast speed. Compared to before, it was indeed more than 10 times stronger. His entire body was flashing with electric arcs, and the strong impact was earth-shattering. Within 1,000 meters, sand and pebbles were sent flying. The ruins under his feet were turned into dust, forming a dust storm that swept across the land. In a flash, Thunder of the Center had caught up with the Southern Demon King. He raised his fist that was flashing with electric arcs and asked in a disdainful tone, "Do you have any last words?" The Southern Demon King was stunned. After a long time, she finally regained her senses. She slowly turned around and sized up the Thunder of the Center, who was a level 10 and 8. At first, Thunder of the Center felt very comfortable. He loved to see his enemies helpless. This kind of unexpected psychological attack made him feel even more satisfied than an all-out pressure. He loved to see his enemies who were full of confidence being turned around in an instant. Their faces turned ashen as they looked at his incoming fist in despair. If it wasn't for the fact that he wanted the Southern Demon King to die a more painful and pitiful death, he wouldn't have waited at all. He would have killed her instantly. However, killing her instantly was not satisfying enough. He wanted to scare her out of her wits before he killed her. Tremble, tremble in front of me. Thunder of the Center's eyes were filled with the arrogance of an expert looking down on the world. Suddenly, he was surprised to see that the Southern Demon King in front of him was not trembling in fear. Instead, she was looking at her own arm happily. This discovery made him puzzled. What was she doing? Is this the lightning god's chain on your arm? Shouldn't the lightning god's chain be hung around your neck? Give it to me. I like this treasure. Quick, take it off and give it to me. Such a good treasure is a waste in your hands. The Southern Demon King was a treasure collector. She would like any treasure that she saw. She had to snatch it. Only now do I understand that talking to a woman is a waste of my saliva. Thunder of the Center was speechless. She was already at death's door, yet she was still concerned about the treasure? Not every man thinks like you. For example, Yu Yang doesn't think so. Of course, you are not him. It's normal that you don't have his realm. The Southern Demon King smiled, as if she was looking at an idiot bragging about his abilities. Thunder of the Center was enraged. Just as she was smiling sweetly, that murderous fist came crashing down with unstoppable force. This punch was enough to kill all living beings below innate level 9 in an instant. However, the Southern Demon King was fine. She easily sent Thunder of the Center flying. Then, she grinned and increased her strength. She had also reached innate level 10. However, she was not a beginner innate level 10 like Thunder of the Center. Instead, she was at the peak of innate level 10, infinitely close to heaven rank. Looking at the shocked and disbelieving Thunder of the Center, the Southern Goblin King gracefully flicked the jade pipa in her arms. I'm sorry, I also hid my strength. I definitely want the chain of the Thunder God. Anyway, you're going to die soon, there's no point in keeping it, right? Chapter 641. Waterworld. Guild leader Yong Hui was baffled. Why did this Yu Yang third young master seem to know that he would come in? If he knew that he would come in and watch him destroy the island, why didn't he stop him? This brat was very calm. So calm that it was a little strange and a little suspicious. If you think that you can get your hands on me with your meager tricks, then you are gravely mistaken. Guild leader Yong Hui had enough confidence. He was a peak heaven-ranked level 4 ranker, close to heaven-ranked level 5. Although this brat had world-exterminating wheel and nirvana flame, it was impossible for him to hit him with his strength and speed. Moreover, as long as there was light, then this Yu Clan third young master would never be able to kill him. He had the spirit of radiance. Whether it was the sun in the day or the stars in the night, they could all provide him with unlimited energy. As long as this beast did not die, then he, who had a contract with it, would never die. Because of this, the captain and vice-captain would be at ease and choose him to enter the water world instead of Yu Su. Guild leader Yong Hui had arrogance in his heart, but he still remained cautious on the surface. After all, Yu Clan third young master was infamous. In addition, world-exterminating wheel and nirvana flame were not to be underestimated. He summoned a heaven-ranked war beast, Sunny Sunflower. Sunny Sunflower was a special type of war beast that had almost no fighting power. It was generally around Earth-ranked level 1 plant-type war beast. It lived in groups and usually never left Sun Valley. Sun Valley was also called Tang Valley. It was the only place where Sunny Sunflower grew. Other than Sunny Sunflower, there was also a huge Fusang tree. Of course, if it was just like that, Sun Valley would have long become a paradise for adventurers. One must know that the lowest grade Sunny Sunflower was sold for more than 100,000 gold in Heaven Realm. However, Sun Valley was a forbidden area for Heaven Realm warriors. This was because there lived a divine bird called the Golden Crow. This divine bird was born as a holy beast. The Golden Crow King was also a divine beast. In the Sun Valley, no one could defeat the Golden Crow King, not even the most powerful heaven ranker. Even if a domain emperor went personally, he could only trade the Sunlight Flower with the Golden Crow King. He could not snatch it by force, let alone occupy the Tang Valley. Sun Valley, this forbidden area, belonged to one of the powerful Eastern Goblin tribe, the Golden Crow tribe. Even the Central Shrine and the King of the Four Realms admitted this. A heaven-ranked Sunny Sunflower was an ancient plant-type beast that was at least tens of thousands of years old. By chance, Yong Hui obtained this Sunny Sunflower warbeast. It was because of these two warbeasts, Sunny Sunflower and Spirit of Radiance, that guild leader Yong Hui became famous in the Heaven Realm and was called Yong Hui. He was able to form a mercenary group in the Western Heaven Realm that could rank in the top 30. As soon as the two beasts were summoned, the Sunny Sunflower rose into the sky, reaching a height of tens of thousands of meters. It was shaped like a sun and emitted boundless brilliance. As high as Heaven Ranker, it could continue to shine for a month. Before the brilliance ended, almost any attack would be ineffective. It was said that this kind of war beast only had one fatal weakness. But this weakness, even Yong Hui himself did not know. He only heard from the mysterious flower giver that there was another weakness when he obtained this sunny sunflower war beast. A hidden weakness that even he did not know, the Yu clan's third young master definitely did not know. Guild leader Yong Hui was very sure in his heart. With the sunny sunflower, then guild leader Yong Hui would almost never die, almost immortal. Because he still had the spirit of radiance. An angel-shaped war beast with a body that was almost like a ghost, wearing a laurel crown, and emitting a soft brilliance floated in the air. She was the spirit of radiance. This was a kind of artificial war beast that was created by the radiant angel after forcibly destroying its body and then extracting its spirit body. It was refined through a secret method and erased its memories. The secret method of the spirit of radiance was not tolerated by the living beings in the heaven realm. They thought that it was an inhumane act. The secret method of refining like the spirit of radiance was called Devil Refining Spirit Slave in the heaven realm. It belonged to one of the top 10 evil arts in the heaven realm. In the mercenary guild of the heaven realm, anyone who dared to create a devil refining spirit slave would have a bounty of 1 billion. Once it was found that there was an organization making it, the experts of the domain emperor level would send their experts to personally kill it. Of course, in the black market, the devil refining spirit slave was one of the black market auction items. The more perfect devil refining spirit slave, such as Yong Hui's spirit of radiance, was auctioned for as high as 60 million, 3 times more expensive than the sunny sunflower of heaven rancor. The spirit of radiance could absorb all the light within 10 kilometers. It was converted into energy and continuously supplied to the master. The master who contracted the spirit of radiance, even if his life was damaged in battle, would immediately be healed by the energy of the spirit of radiance. As long as there was light, with the super healing ability of the spirit of radiance, the master would almost never die. The sunny sunflower and the spirit of radiance were a perfect combination. It was much more popular than the combination of the sleeping dragon moonflower and the dream-eating tapir. After all, the healing power of the spirit of radiance was even stronger than the original radiant angel. She, who had lost her fighting power, focused all her energy on healing, which was unimaginably outstanding. If there was another flaw, it would be that the spirit of radiance had no fighting power. The spirit of radiance that had lost its intelligence didn't even know how to help its master. She only had one instinct left: healing. Come and hit me. Yong Hui could completely imagine, if the other party saw that the wound that was cut by a knife instantly healed, what kind of expression would that have on his face. In the heaven realm, even heaven rankers who were stronger than Yong Hui were not willing to fight with him, because it was a waste of energy. Under the combination of the sunny sunflower and the spirit of radiance, unless he wanted to attack the soul to kill the spirit of radiance's special skill, it would be useless to fight again. Go. The Hell Hydra King, after seeing the sunny sunflower and the spirit of radiance in the sky, it immediately sank, avoiding the battle. Ha. Guild leader Yong Hui laughed. That's right, even the Hydra knew that he was invincible. There was the azure dragon pearl in the water, and the sunny sunflower and the spirit of radiance in the sky. So what if the Yu clan's third young master was abnormal? Could his wheel of destruction and nirvana flame attack the sunny sunflower that was tens of thousands of meters in the sky? Under his command, with the movement speed of the sunny sunflower of heaven rank, all of his attacks would be wasted. As for the spirit of radiance, her speed would be even faster, not inferior to his, and she could teleport back to her master's side at any time, completely ignoring any attack that didn't kill the soul. Not bad, it seems that you are very confident. Yu Yang clapped his hands and laughed. Originally, I only wanted to lure and kill an ordinary heaven rancor. I didn't expect that you would give me so many surprises, not bad. After praising him, he teleported. He silently disappeared in front of Guild Leader Yong Hui. This kind of super speed scared Guild Leader Yong Hui. He didn't expect Yu Yang's speed to be several times faster than he imagined, and hurriedly jumped away. When he felt safe between the sea and the sky, Yu Yang's figure had already disappeared. Even Guild Leader Yong Hui, who was at the 4th level of heaven rank, couldn't find any trace of the Yu clan's third young master. Did this kid dive? Or was he hiding somewhere, waiting for an opportunity to sneak attack? Guild Leader Yong Hui didn't dare to stop in a certain place, and his body kept flying irregularly, not giving Yu Yang any chance to sneak attack. In any case, it was a battle of time, and it depended on who was more patient. He had the spirit of radiance and would never be tired. When this kid was tired, then he would slowly take care of him. If he avoided fighting, then he would use the Azure Dragon Pearl to upgrade another powerful war beast that was waiting to be cultivated. 10 years was enough to play with this kid. He didn't know that at this time, Yu Yang was standing behind the giant sunny sunflower, looking down at everything below. On Yu Yang's face there was a mysterious smile. He took out the 3-realm compass, and behind the sunny sunflower, in a blind spot that Guild Leader Yong Hui didn't know about, he temporarily teleported away. If it wasn't for the 2 special war beasts, the sunny sunflower and the spirit of radiance, Yu Yang would definitely attack on the spot, snatch the treasure, and then leaving this guy here to sit in the water prison for 10 years. But after seeing these 2 war beasts, he changed his mind. He decided to do something more important first. When he had time later, he would use the 3-realm compass to come back and slowly deal with this guy. Boom! The huge body of the Bearman Vice Leader fell down. Other than the Tall Hat Man, the 2nd level of heaven rank, the entire Heaven Realm Charging Wolf mercenary group was in a state of destruction. How could the people of the demonic palace be weak? A rising star, Sky Calamity, could break the heavens and split the earth. Sky Crime, Sky Calamity, and Sky Wrath, who were ranked above her, how could they miss this opportunity to improve themselves in battle? Sky Calamity was heavily injured, but his enemy was smashed to pieces. Sky Crime and Sky Wrath were also heavily injured, but the 2 enemies were even more miserable. One had to endure the pain of sin to be able to breathe, and when he died, his soul was not at peace. The other's soul collapsed, and before his body died, his will couldn't bear it and dissipated. Of course, compared to the Impatience's annihilation power and the Bearman Vice Leader's Sky Punishment power, there was still a big gap between their powers. They only injured the soul, but not destroyed it. The Impatience's Sky Punishment power was complete destruction, and could never be restored. The Tall Hat Man was both disappointed and happy. This Sky Punishment had used that kind of Sky Punishment power twice in a row, and with her current strength, it was impossible for her to use it 3 times. He was now completely safe. He was disappointed because if this girl fought to the death with him, and both of them were heaven-ranked level 2, he might not be able to defeat her. When the Tall Hat Man saw that the Charging Wolf mercenary group was completely annihilated, and the Thunder Corps innates were either killed or captured by Sky Calamity, Yu Bing, Yu Yu, Drunken Cat and Hai Ingwu, he started to hesitate. When he saw Sky Punishment summon her guardian beast for the first time, the Charm Demon Queen danced in the air, and the divine beast's power suppressed everything in the world, he immediately changed his original plan. He took out a Heaven Realm's unique flame arrow and let it shoot high into the sky. He called for his companions to come and help. Without strong companions, it was impossible to win this battle. Even if they won, they would have to pay a huge price. This was not the result that the Tall Hat Man wanted. Following his call signal, 2 heaven rankers wearing the badges of the clown group came from afar at high speed. They first looked around cautiously, then looked at the Tall Hat Man. Didn't I say not to call for us? This will expose us easily. Don't tell me you can't even take down a heaven ranker? Other than this woman, the rest are just ants. The two newcomers were both heaven rankers level 2. One of them was slightly stronger than the Tall Hat Man, but the Tall Hat Man's special ability, Shadow Shift, was superior, so he became the leader of the three. Don't talk nonsense, kill them all. We need to use the fastest time to complete this sacrifice. The Tall Hat Man did not care about his reputation anymore. He quickly ordered his two unknown companions to join hands and attack. If that's the case, let's also call for reinforcements. Hai Ingwu waved the Ocean Emperor halberd in her hand, and a man wearing a Gemini mask appeared. At first, the Tall Hat Man thought that it was a beast, but upon closer inspection, it was not. Seeing that it was only a level 8 innate, he did not care and waved his hand. Kill them all, don't leave anyone alive. When the man wearing the Gemini mask heard this, he seemed to be a little scared. It's not good to fight and kill. Why don't we sit down, have a cup of tea and a bun, and talk slowly? I really want to know, why did you, who are from the southern heaven realm, come all the way to the western heaven realm's Tong Tian Tower? Don't doubt me, I'm actually good friends with your clown group leader. A few days ago, I even treated him to a meal and bathed in the sauna. We almost became sworn brothers. Tell me, why did you little brothers come to my house? You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.